following two spectacular league championship series. The 1986 World Series pitted a pair of teams that both saw a title as their destiny. And on a cold Saturday night in October, Shea Stadium was electric as Game 1 got underway.
A lot of Red Sox fans, I think, are pinching themselves right now. They can't believe tonight is finally here.
We just felt, you know, that we were going to win that World Series, whether it was in 4 games or 5 or 6.
And for the New York Mets, winners of 108 games during the regular year, they felt they'd be in the World Series since the first day of spring training.
Going into the series, we thought our pitching was going to be the thing that really carried us through, that we had the better pitching.
The pitchers for the Red Sox, 28-year-old left-hander Bruce Hurst. For the Mets, the 26-year-old Yaley right-hander Ron Darling. Wally Backman, however, opens on the bench. The right-handed hitting Tim Tuffle will be the second baseman tonight for the Mets.
The two starters matched zeros in a scoreless pitcher's duel into the top of the 7th. But then the ball found Tim Tuffle.
Ground ball right through Tuffle. Here comes Rice around third to throw by Strawberry. He's in there, and Tuffle was fooled by the bounce.
Tuffle's error would result in the game's only run. And just like that, the Sox had an early series lead.
Got him, and the Red Sox have beaten the Mets in Game 1, 1-0.
Through the first 7 games of the postseason, the Mets were hitting just 184 as a team. And things wouldn't get any easier for them the next night against the American League MVP and Cy Young Award winner. But the Mets had an ace of their own, Dwight Gooden, looking to get New York even in an All-Star Game rematch.
That's a classic matchup.
Roger Clemens and Dwight Gooden.
Both guys were young and upcoming, dominant pitchers.
It's the dream matchup.
Well, it didn't turn out to be the type of game that everybody thought it would be.
A towering smash into left center. Gone. Hendy hits it out.
Doc didn't pitch exceptionally well.
And there's a drive into deep left field. It's going to go on the pavilion top. And Dwight Gooden is not good enough tonight. It is 6-2 Boston.
Nobody had actually come into our place and beat us like they did the first 2 ball games.
And the Red Sox, a 3-1 underdog team, have swept 2 in New York.
Coming back to Fenway, we had a lot of confidence going.
They head up to Boston, and Davey Johnson tells the team on the plane, guys, do whatever you want today, you're taking the day off. And it was a very, very key read on the mood of that team.
He said, you know, we haven't played well. Just come to the ballpark tomorrow ready to play. And I think it was the greatest meeting that he could have had.
A lot of guys credit Davey Johnson in that singular decision with turning that World Series around.
Also on the Mets side, a man who'd won 18 games during the regular season, left-hander Bob Ojeda.
Curveball got him looking.
In a must-win game against his former team, Ojeda shut down the Sox in Fenway from the outset.
Right on the outside corner.
On the hill for the Sox, Dennis Oil Can Boyd, equipped with a colorful nickname and personality.
Oil Can was cocky, he was arrogant, he talked a lot of trash.
Overall, I think here in this park, I can master those guys.
He said he was going to go out there and shove it down the Mets' throats.
Leading off for the bat, Lenny Dykstra.
It was a really big miscalculation on Oil Can's part. It's like going up to a lion and giving him a piece of meat. Dykstra went out there and set the tone with a home run, and they just beat the tar out of Oil Can Boyd.
Dykstra also came back with another big home run Game 4 that actually went off the end of my glove.
High fly ball into pretty deep right field.
I went back and I jumped as high as I could jump, but my back hit the fence, so it stopped me from going any further, and the ball just went right off the tip of my glove.
He can't get it. And what a picture Evans paints in right field.
Dykstra was just one Met pouring it on in an explosion of offense.
She is gone. Gary Carter's second home run tonight, and it is 6-0 New York.
2 wins in 3 games got the Mets back into the series and guaranteed them a return trip to Shea.
We went down there and played well, and we allowed ourselves to, put ourselves in a position to get back in it.
Almost incredibly, after 4 games, neither team had heard the winning cheers of a home crowd, and the Sox now desperately needed to close out their '86 season at Fenway with a win. To do so, the Sox had hoped that some great hitters from the past might help them recapture their hitting strokes from the first 2 games. But everything about Game 5 pointed to a pitching duel between Boston's Bruce Hurst and the Mets' Dwight Gooden. Gooden, though, was pitching on only 3 days' rest, and in the second, the Sox broke through. With 1 out, Dave Henderson ripped a drive up the alley and right, and when Darryl Strawberry and Len Dykstra both had trouble with the ball, Henderson turned a double into a triple. Boston shortstop Spike Owen then fought off Gooden's attempt for a strikeout and lofted a fly ball to Mookie Wilson in left that proved to be just deep enough to let Henderson score the game's first run. The next inning, the Mets didn't like what they saw either when their usually reliable shortstop, Rafael Santana, let Bill Buckner's check swing grounder get by him for a leadoff error. Then with 2 out and runners on first and second, Dwight Evans singled up the middle. And when Buckner hobbled home, the Sox led 2-0. Meanwhile, the Mets were again failing to solve the mystery of Bruce Hurst. As he did in Game 1, Hurst thoroughly baffled the Mets early on, and then in the 5th, he got all the runs he would need. Jim Rice led off the inning with a towering drive to right center, which caromed off the bullpen wall, allowing Rice to wind up on third with the Sox' second triple of the night. Designated hitter Don Baylor then drove in his first run of the series with a blooper to right, and the Sox had another run. Boston scored 1 more time in the inning to take a 4-0 lead, but the Mets didn't quit, scoring twice off Hurst before he struck out Len Dykstra to end the game and give Boston the lead in the series.
If you can't be intimidated by the wall or the configuration of the ballpark, just pitch your game. Don't be afraid to go inside, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and you'll do all right. That's basically the way you have to pitch in Fenway Park. You know, we'd worked hard all year, we'd been at our backs to the wall, and we had to go out and have some fun and play hard and just play tonight's game the best we could, and that's what we did.
So it's Bruce Hurst against Dwight Gooden in Game 5, and as it turns out, Bruce goes the distance. He strikes out 10. He allows 2 runs. The Red Sox win 4-2. They're back in front in the series, 3-2, with Bob Ojeda set to start Game 6 against Roger Clemens.
Oh, your confidence has to be soaring here. 1 win away from the World Series championship, and you're giving the ball to Mr. Cy Young himself, Roger Clemens. I mean, you don't want to assume anything, Bruce, but in terms of being where you want to be, this is it.
Well, that's the guy you want. I mean, if everything's lined up and you want to have one guy on your team that's going to pitch to win the World Series, it'd be Roger.
And Calvin, as a closer, now with 1 win away, do you begin to start thinking about being in position to get the last out of the World Series?
I wasn't really thinking about it because with Roger on the mound, we were hoping that he was going to just take us the whole way. I mean, he did that. I mean, I've been with him since college, and he did it in college. And my thought is he's going to do it again tonight.
Yeah, you had been his Texas teammate.
Yeah. And, you know, we kind of took care of business at Texas and just figured that he was going to do the same thing here.
Took a pay cut to play pro ball, but that's...
Hey, now, easy. Easy on that.
Facts are facts.
Bruce busting out his banquet material. Coming up next, Game 6 of the '86 World Series.
The following is a presentation of NBC Sports, proud to be the network of the Orange Bowl. In 1918, America was embroiled in World War I. Woodrow Wilson was president, and the Boston Red Sox beat the Chicago Cubs in the World Series. Now, 68 years later, the Sox are on the brink of another championship.
Lifelong Red Sox fan Dick Casey was in the stands the last time. He remembers that series and a Red Sox pitcher named Babe Ruth.
Ruth pitched the first game and won. 1-0. Imagine that, 1-0. That was in Chicago he played, see? He pitched 2 games. In 1918, he pitched the first or 4th game. In 1918, he won both of them. But he had to have a relief from Joe Bush in 1918. I pray to God that I don't die until I see another World Series winner. So this is my year. I must be going to die pretty soon.
NBC Sports presents the World Series, an inside look. Brought to you by Apple Computers, makers of the Apple II and Macintosh families of personal computers. And by the Ford Motor Company. At Ford, quality is job one. Temperatures in the low 50s, a clear and chilly night at Shea Stadium, and Met fans chilled by the prospect that with one more defeat, their team, which over the course of the season has been baseball's best, will come up short in their quest for a world championship. Hello again, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. The pitchers tonight. Roger Clemens, who didn't pitch all that well in Game 2 here at Shea Stadium, had a no decision. He goes for the Red Sox, trying to wrap things up. The Mets give the ball back to Bob Ojeda, who pitched well at Fenway and posting their first victory of the World Series against the Red Sox. Now, when you consider the psychology on either side of the field, it's an interesting situation. Obviously, both teams are emotionally involved. Each would be a deserving world champion. But for the Red Sox, if they should win either tonight or tomorrow, it would be the fulfillment of a dream. For the Mets, some would say it would just be mission accomplished. A Red Sox loss would be disappointing. A Met loss, devastating, because after all, there are those who will say, whether it's fair, whether it's logical, whether it's reasonable, that if the Mets don't win at all, they have somehow failed. Tonight's pitcher, Bob Ojeda, understands.
Well, I think this is kind of hard not to look at that. We won a lot of ball games regular season. We fought our way through, and really, I mean fought our way through Houston to get to where we are today. And I believe in us, and I believe we can win on Saturday, and we can win this thing on Sunday. But we're going to have to do it. Right now, it's all speculation. Right now, they're saying the same thing. But we have to go out and just do what we can do. We can't put added pressure on ourselves. We can't think we are back in this corner. We can't think about that. We have to go out and just play our game. Everybody rely on each other again.
What about pitching on 3 days rest? Will this be the first time this year?
I think I did it one other time this year, but I think at this time of the season, it's overrated, you know, the one more day rest. I don't think it's necessary unless there's an injury, and I don't have any. So it's just a question of mentally being ready for it, which I am and we all are.
Marv Albert joins us now. And Marv, from Boston's perspective, if the Red Sox are to clinch it tonight, it would be appropriate if the certain Cy Young Award winner Roger Clemens is on the mound when they do.
Bob, Roger Clemens was hit hard in game number 2. It was a flu-ridden Clemens pitching on only 3 days rest for the third straight time, and he wasn't comfortable here at Shea, a subject I discussed with him.
I feel that I wasn't at full strength. I was coming off the flu, and the things that I did out there at Shea last time, that I just got a false impression. I thought my legs would be strong, and it was the cool air giving me that false impression. And I went out there and let loose for about 4 innings, and kind of monkey jumped on my back a little bit, and I just got extremely tired. And then I started trying to do too much with the ball, and when I start doing that, I'm not effective.
No, Clemens wasn't effective in game 2, but tonight he feels he's back on target with the 5 days between starts, and he's seeking to recapture the form that produced that record of 24-4 during the regular season. We'll be back with Darryl Strawberry of the Mets, a target of Red Sox fans this past Thursday night up at Fenway. Welcome back to Shea Stadium in New York. For Darryl Strawberry of the Mets, it's been a season of highs and lows, both going to extremes. Now, he is a man accustomed to the spotlight. Now, this past Thursday night up at Fenway, he was center stage as the target of Red Sox fans. Darryl, what was your reaction to the taunting of the crowd at Fenway in Boston?
Well, I think it was fun. You know, I had a great time because it reminds me a little bit of Chicago, but this is the World Series time right now, and the crowd is going to be on you and try to distract you from your game.
Was it really a great time?
I didn't feel bad about it. Most people thought I felt bad about it, but it just shows you how much attention everybody's paying to you, and it's good to know that people care about you.
Well, here at Shea, it's been an up-and-down relationship with the fans. Do you think they've been unfair? Because you've heard the boos.
Well, at times I think it's been unfair for the fans to point fingers at one particular player on the ball club. I think it's unfair, and you know, it's just something that happens, and it's something that you really don't have control over, and you just have to continue to go out there and try to do your best.
Darryl, you finished the regular season strong. You hit the 2 home runs, big home runs against the Astros, but at one point in the postseason, you had struck out 17 times in 32 at-bats. Several Red Sox players felt that you were confused. Is that accurate?
Well, you could say a little bit. I'm trying a little too hard and not really having the good concentration like you really want to have. Postseason play for the first time. I think I got a little bit too excited for it and wanted to try to do too much and rather stand within myself and just being myself. But right now I'm at the point where I feel very confident and feel that I'm going to do well for the rest of the series.
All right, the Mets win 108 games during the regular season, a gripping victory in the playoff against Houston. But if you lose tonight, it's all over. What goes through your mind when you think about the possibility that the season could end right here?
Well, the only thing that goes through your mind right now at this point is to go out and try to win, and hopefully it's not over, because it'll be a lone winner, and it'll be a very boring winner, knowing that you was in the World Series and you had a great year and you didn't win the World Series.
All right, thank you, Darryl.
All right, thank you very much, Mark.
All right, and from the Met point of view, let's go to Bob Costas and the Boston dugout.
All right, Marv, with us now, Marty Barrett. And Marty, I heard you comment after Game 5 as you passed Thurman Munson's record for postseason hits. Maybe someone of greater stature should have done it.
Yeah, I'm sure that, you know, if Thurman's up there looking down, he probably wished somebody like a Wade Boggs or Jim Rice or somebody probably would have done it. But, you know, I got to take it.
You know, Marty Barrett might not be the Red Sox best hitter, but Marty Barrett is a pretty good everyday ball player whom the country is now getting a chance to know thanks to the playoffs and World Series.
Well, that's awful nice. You know, it's nice to do well in postseason, and as you well know, Bob, you get hot during the season, you're cold during the season, and I think it's just a matter of luck whether you're hot in the playoffs, and I guess I'm fortunate to be lucky in the playoffs.
Would you agree with this notion? Sure, the Red Sox want to win very badly, but if you should lose the World Series, that might be disappointing, whereas from the Mets' perspective, if they lose, because everyone expected them to win, it's devastating.
Well, I think at this point in the series, if you would have said that at the start of the series, I would have said that's a correct statement, but at this point in the series, I think it'd be pretty devastating if we lost it 2 now.
Because you're ahead, or because you honestly believe you are as good or better than the Mets?
Well, I thought we were as good as it was, but, you know, they were having that Chicago Bear type season for baseball. But, hey, we're ahead 3-2 with 2 games left with our best man out on the hill with 5 days rest going against their man with 3 days rest. I mean, we should win.
What about Bobby Ojeda? Did he look like a different guy than the one who used to pitch with you fellas a year ago?
No, he was exactly the same. You know, a lot of change-ups, keep the ball away and not make too many mistakes. And really what we're hoping for is that the 3 days rest to cause him to have a little less control. And when he doesn't have his control, that's when he can get hurt.
Speculate a little bit. If Clemens were to be beaten tonight, how would you guys feel going in with Boyd against Darling in Game 7?
Well, I would still feel comfortable. I'd feel that they would have a little edge because of the momentum, and Darling has done well. He's proven that he can do well on 3 days rest. It would be a real intense game, I think, and I would have to feel that the Mets would probably be in a small advantage at that point.
Thank you, Marty. We'll be back with more in a minute. They're roaring at Shea as the Mets have just been introduced. You know, whenever a team marches to a Super Bowl or a World Series, everybody in town wants to hop on the bandwagon, including those who produce song parodies. In fact, up in Boston, some folks are downright delirious.
The Red Sox are World Series. This town has gone delirious. 'Cause the Sox are World Series. The Red Sox are World Series.
Sailing in Dykstra, he is getting set. Ooh, but he won't strike out. Lenny and the Nets. Oh, when they win, it's so wonderful. Oh, Gary Carter, he's a catching man. He wears a catcher's mask and a glove to match, and he squats down without splitting his seam. How Red Sox of Boston. How saw Jim Rice with a Louisville slugger in his hand, swinging for the Red Sox of Boston. Saw Earl Can Boyd with a fastball in his hand.
We live in New York, a real sports town. We're crazy about Keith, Mookie, and Tuffle. We yell all night doing the Shea Met Shuffle. Hojo, let's go! Hojo, let's go! Say, hey, Dr. K, we never miss a chance. We get up and dance and do the Shea Met Shuffle.
We got Clemens, Evans, Baylor, Box, and Buckner too. And Rice can hit a rocket clear to Timbuktu. Just watch them take the field out on the Fenway Green. They look just like a doggone all-star team. Let's rock. Everybody Red Sox.
And they never even got around to Green Monster Mash. Somehow I think the legacy of George and Ira Gershwin is safe. Time now for the national anthem. Here's the PA man at Shea Stadium, Jack Franchetti.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Joint Services Color Guard from Fort Hamilton, New York. And now, to honor America, and here to sing our national anthem, please welcome one of this country's most popular songwriters and performers, Paul Simon.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Paul Simon, and there will be no sounds of silence at Shea Stadium tonight. 55,000 plus ready to roar right after we check with Tom Brokaw and NBC News.
The dreams are that you're going to have a great series and win, and the nightmares are that you're going to let the winning run score on a ground ball through your legs. So, you know, those things happen, you know, and just I think a lot of it is just fate.
That's almost too eerie, isn't it? Less than 3 weeks before this night, October 6th, Game 6 in '86 was October 25th.
For me, honestly, that's a little hard to listen to. You know, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy to a degree. You know,
Yeah.
and Buck, you know, he's fallen on the sword for our team, unfortunately. And you know, we all had a hand in our loss. But you know, I always say, without him, we don't get there.
Game 6 of the 1986 World Series is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered for real draft smoothness. It's beer at its best. By Merrill Lynch. Your world should know no boundaries. By the American Express card. Don't leave home without it. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, and welcome to Game 6. The last time the Boston Red Sox won a World Series, the Doughboys were dug in the trenches of France, Mademoiselle Armentières, and finally, Johnny came marching home. They're trying to do it again tonight, and they're giving the ball to the best pitcher in the American League, Roger Clemens, who was almost a Met. For New York, Bobby Ojeda, who is pitching magnificently in the postseason. He won Game 2 of the playoffs following a loss. He helped keep Houston away and chase the specter of Mike Scott out in Game 6. He won Game 3 at Fenway to prevent the nightmare of a Red Sox sweep. Well, Bobby Ojeda and Roger Clemens, it's the Mets who are dug in the trenches, the Red Sox making the charge. Let's meet the manager, the general of the Mets, Davey Johnson, and we'll go to Joe Garagiola.
Okay, Vin, it does begin with you, Davey. Are you going to do anything different? Have you done anything different?
Not really, Joe. You know, I didn't have a clubhouse meeting or something before the game and say this is the big one. I say that about 60 times a year. This is the big one. The guys know it. This is a very pivotal game for us.
Is it simple that you got here with this ball club and this is the ball club you're going to finish with?
There's no doubt about it. You know, I got here by playing a lot of people, but the people that have played the best for me are going to be playing down to the wire.
Did you at least go over the hitters with Ojeda?
Bobby's pretty smart. He kind of uses a different pattern every time up with a different hitter. Sometimes he'll go more dead fish, another time he'll go more with his fastball. But that's between Gary and Ojeda, and I don't try to get too involved in that.
How would you describe your clubhouse?
I would say we're loose. You know, I'd say we feel good about ourselves. The bats have been swinging, and the offense is going pretty good. But, you know, we're going against the rest of Clemens. That's going to be tough for us.
Good luck to you, Davey.
Thanks, Joe.
We'll see what happens right after these messages.
Joe Morgan batted with 2 out and a man on second base in the 11th inning.
There's a ground ball, a diving stop by Buckner, and he wins the race to the bag. Oh, bad leg or not, and Morgan is going wild. Sparky Anderson's going crazy at first base. Buckner with a diving stop that may have saved the ball game. A spectacular, dramatic effort. You could see the pain on his face as he raced for the bag with that sore leg of his. Here it is again. Morgan with a hot drive, and look at Buckner guard that line. Diving stop. He just knew he didn't have time to throw. Picked himself up. He wants to race to the bag. Here it is, one of the great races of the year. And the first base umpire, Jerry Crawford, says he's out.
Here's the lineup for the visiting Boston Red Sox. At third base, Wade Boggs. At second base, a standout in the series, Marty Barrett. At first base, Bill Buckner. In left field, hitting cleanup, Jim Rice. In right field, Dwight Evans. Behind the plate, Rich Gedman. In center field, Dave Henderson. The shortstop, Spike Owen, batting 8th, and the pitcher who'll take his turns with the bat, Roger Clemens, on the mound.
Here's the way the Mets will line up on defense. As Davey said, the guys who play the best will be in the lineup, and this is what he goes against right-hand pitching. Wilson, Dykstra, Strawberry in the outfield. Knight, Santana, Backman at second base. Hernandez at first. Carter behind the plate. Ojeda, the pitcher.
Bobby Ojeda making his second World Series appearance. He won Game 3 at Fenway 7-1. He made 2 starts in the playoffs. He was 1-0 against Houston, picking up the victory in Game 2. Pitched well enough to hold on for Jesse Orosco to win Game 6. He was an 18-game winner during the year, and he came to New York in the deal with Boston that sent, among others, Calvin Schiraldi to the Red Sox.
Ojeda had only 2 fly balls in his last game against the Red Sox. 7 ground balls, fastball, curve, slider change. But as you heard Davey Johnson say, he'll throw you that dead fish, that change of pace. His biggest plus, changing speeds. He will come inside, but he can spot that ball on the outside corner. He is a good pitcher.
It will be noisy here at Shea on Saturday night. It is a festive, highly enthusiastic crowd as Wade Boggs awaits the first pitch. A strike. One to Boggs, followed by Barrett and then Buckner. Breaking ball missed, 1-1. The plate umpire from the American League, Dale Ford. Working the bases, John Kibler, Jim Evans, and Harry Wendelstedt. Joe Brinkman on the left field foul line, Ed Montague on the right field foul line. 1 ball, 1 strike. And there's a hopper off the glove at third of Knight, and Santana can't pick it up, and Boggs is aboard. So we'll await the judgment from the 3 official scorers.
Pretty apparent that Boggs was going to go to the opposite field all the way. Knight just does flick it. Santana looks like he might be able to make a play, but he can't find the handle. And Boggs is on.
With a base hit, the official score just flashing the sign. Marty Barrett hitting in the number 2 slot with Boggs aboard. Interestingly enough for Barrett, he has been on base 12 times in the World Series. He has hit in all 5, the only player to do so, and yet he has failed to score a run. Strike.
It'll be a pretty good battle because Ojeda knows that Barrett will be trying to hit that ball to the right side. He's got a hole between first and second. Hernandez has to hold Boggs on. And when you know what a hitter has to do, it gives you a bit of an edge, but it'll be a pretty good battle.
Dykstra shading him a tad towards right center. 0-1. Change hit to right center, but that's where Dykstra is. So they played him that way, and that's exactly where he hit it. 1 out. And Bill Buckner coming out.
Note that both the first 2 hitters, Vin, hit the ball to the opposite field. The off-speed pitcher, they're going to try to lay back and look for that pitch and go the other way, because you know how he tied him up the last time he faced him.
So Buckner with the right side of the infield open. Hernandez on the bag, guarding with Boggs. The outfield is just about straightaway. Dykstra come back over more towards straightaway than he was playing Marty Barrett.
Surprised he's not shading him towards left center field.
Boy, this crowd came here to make some noise tonight. 0-1. And that's one of the many reasons an unexpected guest at Shea Stadium. Took the expression, why don't you drop by, literally and figuratively.
That's about the only way to beat the traffic in this town.
1 ball and everybody got a kick out of it. 1-0 the count to Bill Buckner. And I'll tell you what, Wally Backman almost jumped out of his uniform when that man came down in front of him at second base.
And why not?
Oh, are they up Saturday night at Shea? 1 ball and no strikes. Ball 2.
It's not even a full moon.
Buckner having a look at Rene Latchman. Latch going through the signs. Boggs an interested spectator too at first. As you can say, they're pinching the middle. Backman way off to his right, Santana to his left. So they're both shading Buckner up the middle. And he missed him 3-0. So they're expecting Buckner to go that way. In there.
If there would be a pitch he could pull, it would be the 3-1 pitch. But with Ojeda, his big strength is changing speeds. He'll throw you something besides the fastball when he's behind.
Three and 1. We'll watch Boggs. He's holding, and it's fouled away. 3-2. So they didn't play run and hit on that one. We'll see what they do this time. Remember, Buckner with the bad legs is a definite double play possibility. Second in the major leagues in grounding into double plays. So we'll see if that means that McNamara will turn Boggs loose.
I would think he would, because Buck doesn't strike out that much, and he's got to stay away from a double play to get Rice up there.
Boggs is not going, then goes late, and the ball is hit to straightaway center to Dykstra. Two out in the first inning. Wade Boggs holding at first, and here is Jim Rice. Rice, 8 times an All-Star, up there in a spot in the first inning. It is interesting that Jim Rice, who is a power part of the Red Sox attack, has only had 3 at-bats in the World Series with a man in scoring position. And half of his at-bats have been leading off an inning. Fouled away, 1-1.
Even though Ojeda is not known as a power pitcher, they're playing Rice straight away. Dykstra in center field, right in line with the bag. Take a look at that. He's got a lot of room in right center and left center.
Remember, it's 338 down the lines, 371 falling away to 396, and 410 straight away center. And he came inside with the fastball. Ball 2. 2-1. On deck, Dwight Evans. Change, and he was way out in front of it.
That's where that fastball on the pitch before that one was so effective. He keeps him honest by coming inside. He's not afraid to come inside, but that's his best pitch, that dead fish.
Deuce is wild on Rice in the first inning. Ball 3. Tough pitch to take, borderline.
That's another one of those pitches that you're fooled, but you try to appear real cool like you saw it all the way and just take it. But he had it by him.
Boggs, of course, definitely going 2 out on a full count. Hernandez not holding, and the pitch is in the dirt. So he threw him a 3-2 change, and the Sox have 2 on, 2 out, and Dwight Evans coming up. Much has been said about Bobby Ojeda pitching on 3 days rest. 3 years ago, he pitched extra innings on 3 days rest against Milwaukee, and he certainly is accustomed to the pressure. He won the 2nd game of the playoffs in Houston after a loss. He held off the Astros in the 6th game, and the Mets won it. He won Game 3 at Fenway Park to avert the sweep, and now, of course, pitching the must game of the series for New York. High drive up the alley in left center field. That's trouble, heading for the wall and off the wall. Dykstra plays it. 1 run will score on a double by Evans, and Rice holds at third. So Dwight Evans hits the left center field wall for a long double and a run batted in. And with first base open, the left-hand hitting Rich Gedman coming up.
Ball well hit, but played perfectly by Dykstra. He gets that camera in good shape, hits the cutoff man, and with that, Latchman holds Rice at third.
So for the Mets, who won 108 during the regular season, 4 in the League Championship Series, 2 in the World Series, 114 wins, not enough. And they go in trailing in the first inning against Roger Clemens. Fly ball to right center, a late start, but it's high enough for Strawberry to put it away. However, the Red Sox get a run on 2 hits and lead 2. At the end of half an inning, Sox 1, Mets coming up.
Boston was after its first championship in 67 years, and the Sox best pitcher, Roger Clemens, set out to get it for them. Bob Ojeda was the man they had to beat, and although he had already beaten them in Game 3, the Sox came out after Ojeda in a hurry. Wade Boggs led off the game with a single off Ray Knight's glove for his 6th hit of the series. Then, with 2 out and runners on first and second, Dwight Evans just missed a homer, lining one off the wall and left to drive in Boggs from second for a 1-0 lead.
And here comes somebody parachuting down into the ballpark. Somebody is parachuting, and they're going to land right behind the pitcher's mouth. And he'll go right into the arms of the policeman. That was not planned. That's an individual performance. A guy made a parachute jump, came down with a batter that said, "What, Gary? Let's go, Mets." I said, "Let's go, Mets."
We have not had a team come from behind in this 1986 World Series, and the Mets are fully cognizant of that. And here are the fellas who are going to try and do it for the first time in 1986. Len Dykstra in center, and Wally Backman at second base. Keith Hernandez at first, and Gary Carter clean up behind the plate. Darryl Strawberry in right field, Ray Knight at third. Mookie Wilson in left field. Rafael Santana, the shortstop, batting ninth, the pitcher, Bobby Ojeda.
And the defense for the Red Sox, Rice, Henderson, and Evans in the outfield. Boggs, Owen at short, Barrett at second base, Buckner at first base, Gedman behind the plate. Clemens is on the mound. I must say, Vin, I'm still waiting for Dykstra to at least test Buckner.
Well, we'll see. That might very well be the trick tonight. Roger Clemens is attempting to clinch his 4th championship in the last 4 years. He was the winning pitcher in the final game of the '83 College World Series. Then, while pitching for the New Britain Red Sox, he won the Eastern League Championship. In the 7th game of this year's American League Championship Series, he beat California. And, of course, now he's out there trying to clinch it for Boston tonight.
Outstanding fastball. He can ride it high, and that's the pitch. Even talking to Tom Paciorek before the game, he said, you better lay off that high fastball. He can sink it. He's got a slider, curve, a forkball, and he can work that strike zone in and out and up and down. And I think that's rare when you can work a strike zone up and down.
Well, Lenny Dykstra will be the first one to test him, followed by Wally Backman and then Keith Hernandez. Remember, where Ojeda is working on 3 days rest, Clemens is working on 5 days rest. So Dykstra right after him with a full swing.
He's going to have to work that count to 3-2, although Clemens has outstanding control.
0-1 to count to Lenny Dykstra. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was Dykstra who started the Mets on the road back when he hit the home run to right field at Fenway Park. And it is Dykstra they look to tonight to get them well once again. There is the attempt, but that fastball was by him, and if he did get it down, it would have gone more to third than to first.
Clemens, in addition to being a good fielder, better than average, has that outstanding fastball, a difficult ball to bunt. They describe Clemens very simply. He's an ordinary pitcher with a 150-mile-an-hour fastball.
Very ordinary. 1-2 the count.
He is something.
Got him.
And he did it with fastballs. He did not give him any off-speed pitches or anything but that great fastball.
So Dykstra caught looking for out number 1.
And watch where he spots it. That's no accident.
1 away, and Wally Backman coming up. And another threat to bunt. Wade Boggs plays him on the grass. Barrett is at the ready to charge because of the immobility of Bill Buckner.
He and Buckner got a defense set up.
Fouled away, and he was jammed and late. When Backman bunts, he's a .500 hitter. He went 10 for 20 this year when he gets that bunt down for a base hit. In there, strike 2.
I tell you, Gedman has a big mitt. I saw it before every game, and I can hear that fastball pop up here. That's like throwing a marshmallow into a pillow, and he can make it pop. That tells you, radar gun doesn't have to tell you how hard he's throwing. He is really pumping.
Got him, and he took something off that off-speed pitch for strike 3. So Dykstra and now Backman caught looking. Take another look at that one.
You can see almost in his delivery that he lets up. He doesn't really push off as hard, and Backman is committed, and there's nothing he can do. Just can't pull the trigger.
Clemens was rather outspoken about the fact he's unhappy with the mound. He feels it's high and slopes too much. So he has to grope for the ground in his follow-through. But it's not a bad beginning with 2 strikeouts on a mound you don't like.
That kind of stuff, he can pitch anywhere.
Here's Hernandez. Keith was reminding everybody before the ball game that he was a member of the St. Louis Cardinals that were down 3 games to 2 in the '82 World Series. And as Hernandez says, I'm wearing a ring. 1-0. Fouled away. Roger Clemens, with 5 days or more of rest, is unbeatable so far. 9-0. Ball 2. 1-0 Red Sox. First inning. He had a good swing and a good fastball on the count 2-2.
If he goes according to that graphic and strikes out the side, what a lift that'll be to the Red Sox.
And remember, there were 2 balls hit pretty well to straightaway center, a double off the wall and a high fly ball to right. So the Sox were hitting the ball out of the infield. And that's hit out of the infield, but right there is Dave Henderson. So Hernandez is gone. So are the Mets in order. And at the end of an inning, it's the Red Sox 1 and the Mets nothing. The 1982 team photo of the University of Texas baseball team, and 3 men have emerged to the World Series. Number 1, Roger Clemens. Number 2, Calvin Schiraldi. And number 3, Spike Owen.
I think it's a tribute to all the college coaches. Cliff Gustafson coaches the University of Texas, but so many good coaches. What a quick trip it is to the big leagues now. There they were 82 in college, and here they are in the World Series.
Dave Henderson, followed by Spike Owen and then Roger Clemens. Interestingly enough, Henderson has started more games in center field for Boston in the postseason than he did in the regular season. Ball 1. And as you can see, he is enjoying every minute of it.
It's a pretty good reason to start him, those triple fours.
And now 2 balls and no strikes. And he's behind now 3-0 to Henderson.
That's not the way he pitches. He's usually ahead.
When he pitched game 3, and Mel Stottlemyre knows full well about that. You might remember Bobby Ojeda went 7 innings in game 3. And in that game, he faced 28 batters, and only 7 balls, including the hits, were hit to the outfield. Well, in the first inning, 3 balls were hit for outs and the double, so 4 went to the outfield. There's a 5th one, and we're only in the 2nd inning. Mookie Wilson. So this is not the same Ojeda that we saw in game 3.
And I think that's a pretty good indication right there, Vin, because Henderson was fooled on that pitch. Believe me, he was fooled, because he already committed himself and got that bat. He did it all with his arms, and it carried that far. I mean, he doesn't really drive it, but that's not the good Henderson swing. He'd already committed himself, and he drove it a long way.
How about the ball he hit against Donnie Moore? That wasn't a good swing. That fork ball that didn't, and yet he hit that thing out.
Yeah, but he's
had so strong.
But he had a better swing at that Donnie Moore than this one.
Here's Spike Owen with 1 out, 2nd inning, 1-0 Boston. There's ball 1.
At best, he doesn't have a picture swing.
No. The cluster of balloons that we saw in Boston has suddenly reappeared over Shea. Comebacker right through the legs of Ojeda into center field. To a 1-out single by Spike Owen. That is hit number 3 for the Sox, and it will bring up Clemens.
Looked like a breaking ball, and he sends it right back up the middle. He waits on it, Owen does. You see it. Now watch him hit down on it. Right back up the middle. It's a goal right through the wicket. And with him on at first base, Clemens now gets a chance to help himself by bunting him over, and Hernandez has already set up his defense. He'll be charging pretty hard.
In his previous game here at Shea, Clemens' first at bat found Owen at first, and he was allowed to swing 2-0, which shocked everybody, and he eventually was aboard on an error. Strike. He had 3 trips to the plate in that game. He was aboard on an error, sacrificed, and flied to right.
You have to be careful of Hernandez at first base, because when he goes in and talks to the pitcher, he may say, now on the 2nd pitch, I'll go in a couple steps and go back. You have to be really leery of him. He's always in the game.
Ray Knight way in on the grass at 3rd and committed to come in even more.
There it was.
He's swinging and fouled it away. Remember, they let him swing 2-0 in that game. That's why we brought it up, and sure enough, he hacked away. 0-2.
I have to believe that John turned him loose trying to pick a pitch, and he picked a pretty good one at that, because it was an off-speed pitch, as we look at Latchman flashing a series of signs. And Hernandez once again in talking to his pitcher.
0-2 to Clemens. Owen held on at first. A gap in left center. Dykstra shading and cheating, and Knight ready to charge anyway. And the bunt is fouled, and Clemens has struck out. Two down in the 2nd inning, and that will bring up Wade Boggs, who singled off and under Ray Knight's glove to open up the game, and eventually came around to score.
If he's looking for a particular pitch, if he gets that slow curveball, he'll try to pull it in a hole first and second. Otherwise, that fastball, he'll go the opposite field.
Big breaking ball, and Boggs takes away ball one. Knight way off the line, and Santana is shading up the middle, and he fouled it off. 1 ball, 1 strike. There goes Owen, and there's a base hit through the hole, vacated by Backman. On his way to third is Owen, and they'll hold him on a strong throw by Strawberry that's cut off by Hernandez. What a job of execution. Backman broke to cover second, and Boggs drilled it right to the vacated spot.
And it was a slow curveball, a ball that he can handle now. He starts, and Owen gets a pretty good jump. Now you see the ball shooting by him, a slow curveball. He was able to pull it, and you can see Backman over near the bag.
Well, you try and outguess Boggs, and you figure left-hand hitter, maybe he's going to go the other way again. So you have the second baseman cover, and he burns you. And now here is Marty Barrett, who lined out in the first inning to Dykstra. Change for a strike.
Pretty apparent that McNamara is using strategies, picking pitches. He did on Clemens, and he did on Boggs, and he did with Owens running.
Line drive to left, and it's a base hit. Scoring is Owens, stopping at second is Boggs. And the Sox are on top 2-0.
And once again, Marty Barrett's right in the middle of it.
For Davy Johnson and the Mets, they can't afford to fall back too much, especially with Roger Clemens on the mound for Boston. So immediately there'll be activity in the Mets bullpen.
I tell you, you watch that Marty Barrett, and then you think about him on the pregame show as we look at Aguilera. When he said Thurman Munson may be looking down thinking one of the big hitters that should break his record, but I did it.
Spike Owen coming in with run number 2 in the inning. So it is a different Bobby Ojeda indeed, and the tip-off, as we said, the ball's in the first inning that will hit out of the infield. 2-0 Red Sox, and here is Buckner, who flied to center in the first inning, with Boggs at second and Barrett at first. That hit and run play was a key play so far. And that's driven to right, but Strawberry going back almost turned the wrong way and makes the catch. That ball fooled him, but Darrell stayed with it and made the play. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 more left for the Sox. That makes it 4. Now he has to twist and go back to get it. And at the end of an inning and a half, 2-0 Boston. At 6-6, he was able to reach up and pull it down.
With Spike Owen on first after a single, Wade Boggs executed a perfect hit and run to put runners on the corner. Marty Barrett followed that one with one of his record-tying 13 series hits, which scored Owen to give Boston a 2-0 lead.
Ojeda has been shaky, and Rick Aguilera continues to throw in the bullpen. So it could be that Davy Johnson is already thinking ahead for a hitter. Meanwhile, Gary Carter, Darrell Strawberry, and Ray Knight coming out. Ball 1. The Mets are accustomed to winning at Shea. They set a Mets record with 55 home victories this year. Breaking ball strike, 1-1. So it would appear as if he has command of all of them.
That was the first curveball, and where he threw that one was almost impossible to hit on that outside corner. He's had all his pitches over the plate so far.
Fastball, and now he has Carter in a hole, 1 and 2. Dykstra and Backman struck out. Hernandez flied out. And now Carter leading off the second inning.
It'll be interesting to see how he works on Carter as we look at Darryl Strawberry, because you remember they're spotting that ball the outside part of the plate, and when they do that, they've been effective against Carter.
On the hand, so he had to come in, and Gary had a pretty good rip, and it's still 1-2.
That's that high fastball, a tough pitch to hit off Roger Clemens. Again, he works that strike zone up and down, and it's a rare pitcher indeed who can control that much of the strike zone.
Ball 3. And that's hit to center. Going back on it is Henderson to haul it in. So Carter hit it fairly hard, but right at the center fielder. One down. And Darryl Strawberry coming out. Ball 1. One away, second inning. Red Sox 2, Mets nothing. On deck, Ray Knight. 2-0.
Well, if he's ever going to get a fastball, this would be it. You can't really be guaranteed that, but Strawberry will be looking for it. He's way ahead of him, 2 balls and no strikes.
There it is, and he was a little late. It was in a good spot, and he couldn't get around on it.
Strength against strength, and he just didn't get around on it. And 2 balls and no strikes. A pull hitter, a guy who can hit the low fastballs, a tip off on how hard Roger is throwing.
2-1. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ball 3.
Ben, Jim Murray once used a line on Nolan Ryan that you could use on Clemens. He pitches like everybody forgot to bring their glove.
He's 3-2 to Darryl Strawberry. Ball 4, and the Mets get their first base runner. Strawberry at first with 1 out in the second inning, and Ray Knight the batter. Little breaking ball, but it stayed up. Ball 1, 1-0.
Sometimes you do that to kind of break the rhythm that Roger Clemens was in of nothing but fastballs. Remember, Davey Johnson used Howard Johnson against Clemens, and Knight was very unhappy. He wanted a chance at him, and here it is.
On the corner with a breaking ball. 1-1. So Roger Clemens went to a full count on back-to-back hitters, walked Strawberry, missed with the breaking ball to Knight, and came back with 1 for a strike, and the count 1-1. Ball 2. Davey Johnson, amidst the noise, quietly hoping that his Mets will do what they've done all year, and McNamara relying on his ace. High fastball. That was one of those borderline pitches that just takes off.
There's no way you're going to hit that Roger Clemens fastball there, because it's a high riding fastball. He throws it across seams, and it seems to bend in the middle. It gets maybe 4 feet from the plate and just shoots right straight up.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing. It is goosebump time at Shea. This crowd is electric. 2-2. Strawberry goes. Strike 3 on a bad ball. He's in there, second base safely. Knight chased 2 high fastballs to strike out.
And Marty Barrett at second base really tried to decoy Strawberry. The key to this, watch how Barrett nonchalantly goes into second base and takes the throw. He's not just standing there and then walks into it and tries to make the tag, and he thought he had him. Strawberry, a straight steal. He's one of those fellas that Johnson says, go when you got a chance. Barrett really did a job of decoying, but Strawberry didn't go for it. He didn't buy the decoy, and he's safe.
And Clemens got away with it. 2 rising fastballs out of the strike zone, and Knight chased them both. So instead of perhaps 2 on and 1 out, you have 2 out, a runner at second, and here's Mookie. Ball 1. He wouldn't chase that fastball. Most of the hitters in the American League, I think, fall into the pattern. If that fastball is anywhere above the belt, they lay off it. It's going to explode and sail on you.
It's alive. It's alive.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled away, and Mookie didn't get around on that. It almost knocked the bat out of his hand.
I'm bet it did. He made 143 pitches in the playoffs, so I mean, and 5 days rest. It's like Ojeda said. I really think a lot of that stuff right now, especially tonight, it's overrated. 3 days rest, number of pitches. If the Mets lose tonight, they got 6 months to rest, and you know that Clemens is out there saying, "I'm going to try to end it tonight." So forget all that other stuff.
1 and 2. Got him on the corner. 4 strikeouts for Roger Clemens. At the end of 2-0 Boston. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Now Clemens peering in to Gedman is backstop. Mookie is waiting. The pitch on the way. Strike 3. Fastball toward the outside corner. And Clemens now has spanned 4 in the first 2 innings.
Roger Clemens, now he'll get a handshake from Hurst saying nice going, but watch him, he's searching the bench for his catcher Gedman. There's Bill Fisher and there's Gedman because they worked that inning well. Great picture.
To the 3rd inning. Jim Rice, Dwight Evans, and Rich Gedman. 2-0 Boston. Fouled away off to the right, out of play. The Sox have jumped on Ojeda. 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 line drive outs. All 3 outs in the first inning were balls hit to the outfield, 2 of the 3 in the second. So Ojeda is not pitching his game. Fouled away, 0-2.
You know, when I see that picture, Vin, not that I was in it that many times, but when you work an inning and you're really working in sync, the one guy you want to have tell you, hey, good job, is the pitcher. Everything else is mashed potatoes. And that's what Clemens did.
0-2 to Jim Rice. 0-1. Rice walked with 2 out and a runner at first in the first inning. That set the stage for Evans to unload a long double to drive in Boggs. Big change curveball, got him looking. Oh, what a rainbow job that was.
And there's the case of selling the fastball, watching the motion, and watch Ojeda. It is a big curveball. You can see him twisted, and Rice is just completely frozen.
Strikeout number 2 for Ojeda. The other one was Clemens trying to bunt. And here is Evans. Hit that long double high off the left center field wall in the first inning. 0-1. The outfield fanned out straight away. Backman is playing just about on the rim over to his right. He's directed from the dugout. Straight change, and he lifts it in the air to Strawberry in right center. Two down in the 3rd inning. And the batter will be Rich Gedman, who applied to right in the first inning. When Ojeda was with Boston, he was quoted as saying that Gedman was his closest pal on the team. Half swing on that low breaking ball for a strike.
That friendship really ceases in a hurry in a World Series, doesn't it?
A young man who has had his shot and came up empty 4 times, which is shocking in itself. Dwight Gooden. On 1. Another breaking ball. Bobby Ojeda trying to settle down after a rocky first 2 innings. Got him on the big sweeping curve. 3 strikeouts for Ojeda. The crowd trying to spur him on now, and at the end of 2 1/2, the Red Sox 2, the Mets nothing. Amidst the roar of the crowd, a rather poignant portrait of Bobby Ojeda. He's out on deck as Rafael Santana checks in at the plate. Ball on the corner, strike 1. Fouled away, and again off to the right. We haven't seen anybody pull a Clemens pitch yet. Pop off to the right, twisting towards the stands and out of play. Fouled up the other way.
He pulled the emergency cord with that one, just enough to stay alive. It was by him, but then again, that's what you're supposed to do.
And that's hit foul the other way. I guess the first time we see anybody pull one outside of the third, we're going to say he's losing his stuff.
Well, it's almost a story about the guy who pitches a no-hitter and one guy hits foul. I said, never mind the pitcher, get the guy who hit the ball foul. The guy that pulls it is going to make the story.
2-2. Breaking ball got him. So with all the smoke, he strikes out number 5 with a curve.
And he does such a tremendous job, Vin, of keeping that leadoff man off base. You're always with 1 out, it seems like. There's the curveball. And if you don't think that's a tough job after he's been firing 96-mile-an-hour fastballs, that you have to hang in there and try to hit that curveball.
Well, here's Bobby Ojeda facing a man who averages almost 9 strikeouts a game this year. And he starts him with the fastball.
He had a pretty good cut at that ball.
He sure did. On 1. And another. Bad pitch, strikeout number 6, and 3 in a row for Clemens. Again, a hitter chasing that explosive fastball that goes high and away out of the strike zone. With 2 out, Lenny Dykstra, who led off the game and struck out. And he starts him with the fastball.
And a strike.
So Knight, Wilson, Santana, Ojeda have all bitten the dust after Dykstra and Backman open up the game on strikeouts. 0-1. Foul the other way. And it's 0-2 again. And there's a one-hopper to shortstop. A little English on it, but Owen throws him out, and the Mets are gone in order. And at the end of 3, Clemens has struck out 6, not allowed a hit. 2-0 Boston. Two to nothing Boston, top of the 4th inning, with Henderson, Owen, and Clemens due up. Henderson flied to left in the 2nd inning. Ball 1. And a busted bat, fly ball to shallow center. Dykstra coming on to make the catch. You wouldn't think an off-speed pitch would shatter a bat. That thing broke in 4 pieces. Just disintegrated.
It looked like he hit it right off the end of the bat. And once again, he was completely off stride. Ojeda with that slow change of pace, and Dykstra a tough play because you go by the big swing of the bat playing deep, and he had a home run swing, hit it on the end of the bat, and Bott dunked one in there.
Well, the batter is the shortstop, Spike Owen. Single to center in the 2nd inning. And base hit into left field. Though we still haven't seen a Red Sox batter hit one on the ground for an out. And that's very much unlike Ojeda. And Hernandez to the mound. Owen is 2 for 2.
Boston pitcher Roger Clemens.
6 hits for Boston. Here's Clemens coming up. Tried to sacrifice, swung once, and then bunted foul. In the air, foul, Carter.
I tell you, his coach must be just jumping up and down because not a very good attempt. It was an easy play. Everybody could have made that play. Ojeda, Hernandez, Carter, Bat Boy.
You know what's interesting, and it's one of those amazing angles in this series. Roger Clemens, coach at San Antonio Junior College, is a former New York Met by the name of Wayne Graham. He was one of 78 third basemen used by the Mets. He played, I think, about 64. He played in 20 games. So there's so many threads involving these two teams. Here's Boggs, singled off Knight's glove and single to right. Fouled off. That was a big play in the second inning. The hit and run single with 2 out. Backman broke the cover and Boggs drilled it right at the second base hole. High bouncer over the mound, but Santana says he has it, and he goes to first for the out. No runs, 1 hit, the first ground ball for Ojeda. At the end of 3 1/2, 2-0 Boston.
Here's a game within the game. Dykstra is the batter, and he gets him with the fastball. Watch him tail it away. Catch that outside corner. There it is. It's not the high rider. Now Backman, it's a curveball strike. Mookie Wilson tails it away. He's made 61 pitches, Vin, 42 strikes, 19 balls. 5 of the 10 first pitches have been for strikes.
Well, the Mets crowd exhorting Backman, Hernandez, and Carter to try and break the magic spell of Roger Clemens. No hits in 3 innings.
He's got to try to bunt to get something started. They got to get this Met ball club. He's got to kick started somehow, some way, because with 3 innings, 6 strikeouts, he has really been in control.
Backman struck out in the first inning. Strike. You know, Roger Clemens only lost once on the road this year. That was he's ejected by umpire Greg Kosk in Chicago for a call at first base in the 5th inning. What a record. The only time you lose, you get kicked out of the game. Fly ball slicing to left, but Rice has room.
You know, it's easy to look at a Roger Clemens and say, well, he must have had that kind of stuff all along. But the scout who signed him, and I was talking to Eddie Casco about it, was Danny Doyle, an old catcher. I played against Danny. And he said, Casco was telling me, he called him up and he said, we got to sign Clemens. Casco said, how much? And the scout said, I don't care. Sign him. I'll put my job on the line.
And as you tell that story, there's a scout in Michigan named Jim Terrell who scouts for the Mets, who must shake his head and think about the big one that got away. Over $5,000. 4-1. Joe McElwain finally went down to look at Clemens on 2 different weekends to decide whether to pay him the $25,000, and the games were rained out each time. And Joe came back and said, well, I guess some things are not meant to be. Hernandez flied to center in the first inning. He would not go after that pitch out. Ball 2.
That's the one they have to lay off.
Hopped in the air off third. Boggs coming over as the ball slices away. He can't get it. And another fisted foul. Boggs might have a play. Leans in. Help him out of there, Harry. He got it. Harry Wendelstedt had to lift him out of the crowd.
And that fastball was just a little bit higher as we look at Boggs. Now he finds the stands. He looks again. He finds it and reaches over and watch Wendelstedt. He's staying right with him. He wants to see if that ball's there. Now a fan can knock it out of his hands because he's reached into the stands. That would be okay, no interference, but he shows him the ball.
They got the right umpire to do the job of lifting him out.
He could lift 2 or 3 of those photographers.
Gary Carter, ball 1.
In that sequence on Hernandez, you could see him climb the ladder.
2 out, 4th inning, 2-0 Red Sox. Breaking ball missed. 2-0. On deck, Darryl Strawberry. Now Hernandez swung 2-0 and fouled it off. That was the pitch he questioned Ford as to whether he swung at a strike or not. Let's see about Carter. Out in front, fouled it off to the right, out of play. He knew he could hit. He was guessing fastball and he couldn't wait.
You're always hitting when you walk in the batter's box. I mean, there's no signal from the coach. 2 balls and no strikes. 3-1, you look at the coach. 3-0-2 for that matter. And the coach will give you hit or take. A guy like Carter, I doubt if since the playground days did he ever get a take sign. 2-0, so you guess for a pitch. He guessed and still couldn't do anything with it.
2-1. Two and two. Just missed with the fastball. Well, he goes all the way. The Mets have had 1 base runner. That was Strawberry, who walked in the 2nd inning. Carter's trying to get on and make Strawberry the tying run. Hit a breaking ball off the end of the bat, and Clemens takes care of him. The Carter, badly fooled, hits back to the box, and the Mets are gone again. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
That's fully clean. That's fully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're that's fully clean.
Do I look clean to you? Surprise. I'm not fully clean unless I'm zestfully clean. Don't leave a sticky film on you that won't rinse away, but Zest rinses you fully clean.
Zestfully, zestfully, zestfully clean.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Roger Clemens is the star of the night up to here. He is not allowed a hit. He has walked 1, struck out 6, and retired 8 in a row. The only Mets base runner, Strawberry, who walked and stole 2nd base. It's Marty Barrett, Bill Buckner, and Jim Rice in the 5th inning. Strike. Barrett lined out to center in the 1st inning and then singled to left in the 2nd. He has hit in all 6, but has not scored a run. There's another base hit for Barrett, and he's 2 for 3. 7 hits against Bobby Ojeda. Ojeda is due to bat 5th when the Mets come up in the 5th inning.
Knight in a couple steps, protecting against a possible bunt by him, and once again Barrett is on, and Buckner taking a lot of time getting in there, giving 3rd base coach Renee Latchman a chance to put on a sign, because they certainly have a combination where they can try things.
Buckner flied to center and then drilled one in the 2nd inning. Strawberry, after turning the wrong way, then turned the other way and made a fine catch. And he's going to have to make another. That ball is hit to deep right. And Darryl is there. Good play. And Marty Barrett back to 1st. So Buck is 0 for 3, but he has taken Ojeda deep twice.
The next batter, left fielder, Jim Rice.
1 out, and Jim Rice coming up. Rice has walked and struck out. 0 for 1. Change, ball 1. Fastball, that's hit to right, but Strawberry has it all the way. 2 down.
And stepping up, right fielder, Dwight Evans.
Here's Dwight Evans. If you remember when Bobby Ojeda pitched in the playoff game against Houston in Game 6, he gave up 3 runs and was behind to the Astros and Bob Nepper 3-0. And then the Mets magic as they fought back with Dykstra's pinch hit triple, a 16-inning game, and the Mets wind up in the World Series because of it. Well, Ojeda is down 2-0. We're in the 5th. 2-0. Check swing foul off to the right, out of play, and the count 2-1 to Evans. All 3. Barrett looking across at Latchman to see if they're going to play run and hit with Evans. 3 balls and 1 strike. Barrett's not going. On ball 4. So Ojeda walks his second man. 2 on, 2 out, and Rich Gedman coming up. He's flied to right, and you remember struck out on 3 big curveballs in the 3rd inning.
Now Gedman has to be looking for that curveball, but Ojeda's got to say, well, until he hits it, I'm going to keep throwing it to him.
I would think so. Santana and Backman have a very quick meeting.
Sign switching.
Barrett at second, Evans at first, 2 out in the 5th. 2-0 Red Sox. See if he starts some curveball. Yep. That's 4 in a row to Gedman. 0-1 to count.
There's 2 schools of thought. Some say, well, the hitter's looking for it. I always felt, hey, until he hits it, keep throwing it.
And another one that's looped to left. Mookie is there. So the Red Sox, as they've done throughout the series, lead 2 more. They've left 7, and it's still 2-0. In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Mets will have Darryl Strawberry, Ray Knight, followed by Mookie Wilson.
Clemens in 4 innings has made 73 pitches, 49 strikes, 24 balls, 6 of the 13 first pitches strikes.
And he is not allowed to hit. He's had 1 base runner. That's when he walked Strawberry in the 2nd inning. Ball 1. Change, and it's hit in the air and slicing foul away from Jim Rice and back into the seats. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now that was a classic example, as you see Santana and Carter studying. Strawberry laid off that fastball and sailed up and out of the strike zone. 2-1. And another one. Those are the same pitches that Ray Knight chased when he struck out.
It's the easiest pitch in the world to see, and that's why you chase it, but it's the most difficult to hit.
Ball 4. Strawberry stole second in the 2nd inning, and while Buckner had him busily engaged, he might have missed a sign. That's why he's looking over there. Buckner is the town visitor. He went over and talked to Bill Robinson, and I think he had misdirected Strawberry's attention. And Darryl finally had to really appeal to Harrelson to repeat the sign.
You would think that Knight would just be taken to see what happens here after that base on balls.
Knight struck out in the 2nd inning. 2-0 Sox. Bottom of the 5th. Mets trying to come back. Fouled away. High foul, slicing down the right field line and out of play. So now Knight in the hole, 0-2. Breaking ball, 1-2 the count to Ray. There's McDowell. It's a little early to see Roger, but then again, it's getting so very, very late. And Davey and Mel Stottlemyre know it. 1-2. Strawberry goes. Fastball in the dirt. Gedman's throw. He's in there. The ball is going to wind up in Spike Owen's glove, and I thought maybe the shortstop might try the hidden ball trick. What? Now Owen has it, but Strawberry evidently was aware of it. It'll go right out of Barrett's glove. And now he sees him pick it up. the middle, base hit. Here comes Strawberry, and he will score. So on their first hit, the Mets get their first run. Red Sox 2, Mets 1, nobody out. The tying run at first, and the batter, Mookie Wilson. And this crowd going wild.
It was a curveball that Ray Knight hit. He really stayed with it. Looking bunt.
Two bad hacks and the count 0-2. Those fastballs have just thoroughly fooled him. They're way up and out of the strike zone. But of course, that's part of the mastery of Roger Clemens. Breaking ball hit into right field. Knight to second base will hold. And when Evans bobbles, he goes to third. Who committed only 5 errors all year and only 2 since the middle of July, has allowed the tying run to get 90 feet away with nobody out, and Danny Heap will come up to bat for Rafael Santana. John McNamara on his way out to the mound.
The curveball is the pitch that is hurting in this inning. His fastball had been fouling off. He threw a curveball to Knight. He got to base it up the middle. Mookie was behind on his fastball. He threw the curveball. He singled into right field. So it's a case now of McNamara trying to settle his young pitcher down. Nobody out. First and third.
Strawberry walked and stole second. Knight got the first hit for the Mets to break the no-hitter as he singled up the middle to score Strawberry. Wilson hit a breaking ball for a single to right, and Knight takes third on the error. Here's the pitch to Mookie. Breaking ball, and he stayed right on it. So Danny Heap will come up to bat for Santana with the tying run 90 feet away and nobody out.
And Heap is a good fastball hitter.
High fastball. Ball 1. Mookie at first. Knight at third. Sammy Stewart begins to throw in the shadows of the Red Sox bullpen. A fake and another fake. Naturally, the crowd hollers ball, like night follows day. He was well off the rubber. Ball 2, high fastball.
Now it's strength against strength.
Ground ball hard to Barrett. They go to second for 1, to first, double play. However, Knight scores to tie it up. So the error by Dwight Evans has given the Mets the run. Otherwise, Knight would be now at third. Dwight, as we said, had committed only 2 errors since July. And the batter, Bob Ojeda, who has found himself even 2-2. Ground ball to Marty Barrett. And that's it. But the Mets get 2, and they are alive and well, and the crowd is on its speed at Shea at the end of 5. A 2-2 tie.
After leading off the inning with a walk, Darryl Strawberry stole second. Ray Knight followed that with the Mets' first hit of the night, a 2-strike single up the middle, which scored Strawberry to close the Boston lead to 1.
Clemens into the stretch. 2-1 delivery. Ground ball to the right side. It might be a double play. A run will score. The throw back to first is in time. Double play, but it ties the ball game. The Mets have tied it up.
Here's a key play in that 5th inning involving Dwight Evans.
He's got his glove down, and it just seems to take almost like a little bit of a bad hop, but he's watching that runner all the way, which may be a factor. I'll tell you, it was just a funny way for him to feel that ball.
And it allowed Knight to get to second, eventually to third, where he scored on the double play to tie it up. How would you like to be Kevin Elster? He is 22 years old. He was drafted by the Mets 2 years ago. Came up from Jackson AA, and he's the shortstop in a must-win game in the World Series. And here is Dave Henderson. Henderson flied to left, flied to center, 0 for 2. Strike. Change is in there. Strike 2. Like a soap bubble, he got that thing up there.
Oh, it just floated up there.
And another change hit up the middle, and here's Elster. The 22-year-old gets him. So Kevin gets his feet wet. He was a Texas League All-Star team member this year.
And that's the best thing that can happen to the youngsters, have the first one hit to him where he really has to roam a little bit to his left. He turns it into an easy play, but I tell you, before it's hit to you, I tell you, as a catcher, you hope in a tough spot you get a foul tip. One that'll just nick you, not hurt you, to kind of wake you up, and that's what he's hoping, the ball's hit to him to get his feet wet, as you put it.
Oh, to be 22 and playing in the World Series, and you're only a pro for 2 years.
You could have stopped after 22.
Wow. Spike going. Single to center, single to left. He's 2 for 2. So is Barrett, so is Boggs. Right. Roger Clemens, in case you're wondering, is out on deck.
That's the pitch that Owen has been able to hit for the base hit. Curveball, he hits down on as we look at Clemens.
0-1. 1-1. Fastball. He was late. Ground ball fielded by Hernandez, who flips it behind the pitcher covering.
Looked like Keith was a bit undecided as to how he was going to give it to Ojeda, and he'll talk to him about it. He was just kind of no man's land. Once he gets it, he kind of hesitates here. He doesn't really know what to do with it. Almost a basketball flip. And Owen is on.
And it's going to go as a base hit. The old story, it'll look like a line drive in the box score. He's 3 for 3.
He was actually moving towards third base and really couldn't get anything on that flip. And here's Clemens with another chance to bump that ball.
And remember, Wade Boggs on deck is 2 for 3. So they're looking bunt. Knight well in. Roger has struck out and fouled out. And the bunt is to Hernandez. He's going to go to second just in time.
And that was a good bunt by Clemens, but Hernandez's daring is what made that play. And the difference in this play and the other one is you watch him get the ball and set himself. Now he breaks in immediately. A good bunt. Now watch him set himself now. There he does, and he gets something on the throw and gets his man.
That's the joy of a left-handed first baseman, because you don't have to turn that upper torso. You can just gun it. And when he gets his man, everybody in the ballpark knows it. Now you have Roger Clemens in the strange role of a base runner. It had been strange enough to be a batter. And Hernandez probably kidding him about it as Wade Boggs gets in. 2 for 3. Strike. Boggs singled off Knight's glove, singled to right on a hit-and-run play, and grounded to short, a chopper up the middle in the 4th inning. 0-1. And another breaking ball strike. 0-2.
Ojeda's like a dart thrower. He just picks his spots, lays it here, lays it there, puts a little on, takes a little off. He's all around that plate.
Big breaking ball. 1-2. When the Mets bat in the bottom of the 6th inning, they'll have Len Dykstra, Wally Backman, and Keith Hernandez, and Roger McDowell is up again in the Mets bullpen. Breaking ball just missed the outside corner.
Boy, he wanted that one. You could see him shake his head. That was the pitch he wanted right there.
2-2.
It's a curveball. You see that twist. Watch his reaction. A groan.
And another one, and it's hit to second, and there's the feed to Elster. No runs, 1 hit, a man left, and Shea Stadium is rocking to its foundation. We go to the bottom of the 6th in a 2-2 tie. What's that expression about 1 brick shy of a load? Clemens 1 pitch shy of averaging 20 pitches an inning, which of course would be quite a load to carry in the 9th inning.
That it would be. And if you're a fan of the radar gun, 27 pitches that Roger Clemens has made so far have been 95 miles per hour or above. But in the last 2 innings, he's only thrown 2 pitches in that range.
Remember, we told you Sammy Stewart was throwing back of him in the 5th inning. No one moving now in the Sox bullpen. However, Roger McDowell continues to throw in the Mets bullpen. For New York, Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman, and Keith Hernandez. Bottom of the 6th in a 2-2 tie. Dykstra struck out and grounded to short, 0 for 2. Fouled away. Another thing, as far as the Sox are concerned, they have not made it easy for Clemens. They have left 8 men in 6 innings. Looked like Dykstra was trying to hit that low fastball to left field. 0-2. Got him off speed with a little break at the tail, and Dykstra frozen at the plate. So that's the 2nd time he strikes out, and strikeout number 7 for Roger Clemens.
You almost think that he thought it was going to be the fastball because the high fastball he wants to lay off, and it just seemed to break over the plate.
Backman struck out and flied to left, and again Boggs looks bunt. Ball 1. Keith Hernandez on deck. And it's hit to the hole, smothered. A great stop by Spike Owen, too late.
It was only Backman's hustle that made that play. Owen makes a tremendous play. Not only does he come up with the backhand from his knees and throws a strike and had pretty good stuff on it, and Backman just does beat it. He hustled all the way. It looked like a base hit from the minute he hit it, and had he stopped to watch it the split second or so, he would have been out.
So Backman singles to the hole, and that will bring up Keith Hernandez. Hernandez has flied to center and fouled out. 0 for 2. 0-1. Look at Buck faking that the ball had gotten away, and Backman wouldn't go for it.
Pretty bad piece of acting. But he tried.
Yep.
Look at Backman. Backman's a bad movie, Buck.
No Oscar. 1 ball and no strikes.
You saw Backman dig in, much like Strawberry did the other time. When he dug in, it took off. What do you think?
There he goes. And there's a line drive base hit. Backman on his way to third. Henderson has to throw it into first. If you noticed on that play, Spike Owen was breaking to cover, and Backman has to run around him. However, Henderson couldn't come up with the ball cleanly to make a play on him anyway.
And you could see that pitch was out of the strike zone, a high fastball, and Hernandez just tomahawked it.
First and third, one out in the sixth, the 2-2 tie, and Gary Carter trying to break that tie. Way out in front of it.
Here's where Clemens has to muscle up and go for the strikeout.
Steve Crawford is now throwing in the Red Sox bullpen. On 1. Fastball pop foul behind the plate and out of play. So Carter with perhaps his biggest at bat in the series right now. Got him looking outside corner.
He went with the fastball and took a shot at that outside corner. You could see Gedman give that target, and Clemens really hit it. And there's the yardstick. What do you do with the man on third base in less than 2 outs? He needed the strikeout. Look at that glove.
So now it's Darryl Strawberry front and center, and a frustrated Carter back on the pine. Strawberry has walked twice and stolen second twice. Ball 1. Strawberry has 4 hits in the series. They have all come with the bases empty. And now Buckner to the mound to talk to Clemens.
The pitch that's gotten Clemens in trouble with Strawberry's been that high fastball. Darrell's been laying off that pitch. It's out of the strike zone, and he's walked both times.
Ball 2.
Clemens thought it was a strike. He thought he got pinched on that one.
Ground ball hard, but at Barrett, he hangs it to Owen for the force on Hernandez. And the Mets waste a golden chance, and Carter has to forget about it. We'll be back after these messages.
Set your sights on the best in baseball. Order the 1986 World Series program. There are more than 100 pages of articles and photographs making the World Series program a real collector's item. Send $6 check or money order to World Series Program, P.O. Box 4686, Trenton, New Jersey, 08651. P.O. Box 4686, Trenton, New Jersey, 08651. Include your proper return address. The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
We go to the 7th inning in a 2-2 tie. 14-game winner Roger McDowell, with the 22 saves during the regular year, will now make his 4th appearance in the World Series. He has been in games 1, 3, 4, and now 6. He does not have a decision. His earned run average, however, is almost 4. In 4 2/3 innings, he has given up 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 5 hits.
Barrett stepped out of the box for a minute, Vin, to talk to Buckner, and I'm sure just reinforcing what he knows about McDowell and wanted Buckner to tell him.
Marty Barrett lined out to center and then singled twice against Ojeda. Now he'll get a sinker ball pitcher. And there's one right off the bat, strike 1. Barrett with 2 hits tonight has hit in 6 straight. McDowell now trying to hold on to this tie until the Mets come up in the bottom of the 7th. 1-1. Fouled off, 1-2.
Very interesting defense. Even though Knight is not guarding the line, he's dropped back. He's still playing Marty Barrett to pull. Yet you look at the outfield, the center fielder Dykstra is in right center field. Look at all that area in there. They're playing him to right field line. In the outfield, Knight's playing him to pull in the infield.
The basic theory, I guess, you don't try to pull a sinker ball pitcher, but it is late enough in the game that if the hitter does pull him, you want to have somebody guarding against the extra base hit. 1-2 to Marty Barrett. Sinker, 2-2.
It's to protect against that off-speed pitch is what Knight is doing, because if McDowell's got the good sinker, which it appears he does. He should get the ground ball, either short or second.
2-2. Just off the corner. 3-2. And you can bet Carter, who was burned over a pitch on the outside corner, has something to say about Dale Ford about that one that was called a ball.
Sinker.
3-2 to Marty Barrett. And he lost him. Ball 4. So Barrett, with 2 singles and a walk, goes to first, and that will bring up Buckner, Rice, and Evans. Once again, we remind our viewers we'll be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ball game.
And with the sinker ball pitcher up there, and Buckner with his problem as far as his legs go, taking a good look at Rene Lashman. Knight's looking for bunt. The double play is the inning record, so you got to look for some kind of a play.
And remember, while Ojeda was in there, Buckner was hitting the ball in the air and taking Bobby deep. 0 for 3, twice long outs to right. Now let's see about the sinker baller. Knight looking bunt on the grass. And the bunt is foul. It hit him in the batter's box. No play. It hit him in the box for sure. And the count, no balls, 1 strike. Dale Ford called it immediately.
Look at Buckner reinforcing it to Ray Knight. He squares around. Got him right on the foot. And look at Ford immediately calling it foul ball. And Buckner, when you see a motion like that, he's telling Lashman, start the signs all over again. I missed the first time you did it.
And the runner goes, and the pitch is hit up the middle. Back to get it is Backman, and they make the play. So they put a hit and run play on to avoid the double play. They not only avoid it, but Buckner gets his man up 90 feet to second base. So that was a good bit of hitting.
You can see Barrett looking back. He follows the ball, and Backman's play only to first base. It's his job to put the bat on the ball, and that's what he did. When he was looking, he was almost trying to, before when Vinny talked about it, like he was trying to check who was going to be covering. Usually the second baseman holds when the left-hand batter's up there.
Where is Jim Rice with a chance to untie the score? 0-1. Rice walked in the first inning, struck out in the third, flied to right in the fifth. All of those at-bats were against the starter, Bob Ojeda. Roller foul outside of third, 1 ball and 1 strike. For Rice, this is the 6th game of the World Series. This is only his 4th at-bat in the series with a man in scoring position.
It's really hard to believe when you stop to think what Marty Barrett has done.
Well, how about Barrett? Every time you look up, he's on base 3 more times tonight. And as we had mentioned earlier, he hadn't scored a run in the series.
Impossible.
1 ball, 1 strike. Roller to third. Knight charging. High throw off Hernandez's glove, and over to third goes Barrett. A routine play gets away by Ray Knight. Just a slow roller against a slow runner. He had plenty of time, and he threw it away.
You'll see it. Nothing tough about it.
And not only does he lose Rice, but since it's such a bad throw, he allows Barrett to get over to third. And now the Mets have a problem. It is indeed strength against strength. They're going to have a sinker ball pitcher against a low ball hitter, Dwight Evans.
That ball just sailed right up and over Hernandez's glove. They had a meeting as to who would be covering, and you see Backman now talking to McDowell, pointing to the shortstop. They're still not sure. Backman just hollered in, but they are sure now.
It's interesting that because of Dwight Evans' error, Ray Knight turned around to be the tying run. Now because of Knight's error, Dwight Evans has a chance to untie the score. The infield in double play depth. Evans double to left, flied to right, and walked. 2-2, top of the 7th inning. Big error by Ray Knight. Sinker, ball 1.
Much like you have to lay off the high fastball with Clemens, you have to lay off that pitch that seems to be right about at your knees, because by the time it comes across the plate, it is out of the strike zone and a cinch ground ball if you try to pull it. And there it was.
1 ball, no strikes. Rich Gedman on deck. Missed again, and Carter can't believe it. 2 balls and no strikes. There's ball 3, almost a wild pitch.
He really overthrew that one. He tried to get a little extra on it and almost got it by Carter, who makes a good play getting that ball. Backhands it. That glove with that break in the middle, much like a first baseman's mitt, what made the difference on that play.
Evans, a quick look at Latchman. Run is at first and third, 1 out. 3-0 the count to Dwight Evans. In there. Time, no pitch. The plate umpires have allowed that to happen throughout the series, and that really is not the way the rule is in the book. But they have allowed the hitter to ask, and they have granted time even though the pitcher is in the middle of his delivery.
You got to believe that in the playoffs and World Series they really stretched that rule book, because Davey is really upset.
Sure.
What's going on?
It's not supposed to be. You're not supposed to allow a man to do that. 3-1 to count to Dwight Evans. Foul back, 3-2. Now you have a decision, I guess, for John McNamara. Jim Rice doesn't have any speed, and he's talking to Walt Reniak at first. So we'll see if Mac puts a run and hit play on for Rice, so that he could possibly have a chance to break up a double play. And McDowell wants to talk to Hernandez about coming over there perhaps and tying up Jim Rice.
Rice is still not sure, because he keeps looking at Reniak for confirmation. Usually the first base coach, he may have a word sign like maybe your first name or whatever. Now he's checking down at third base, looking around, but he had been staring at Reniak.
McNamara played hit and run with 2 out in the second inning, and Boggs obliged. So we'll watch Rice at first. Barrett at third, 1 out, 3-2 to Evans, 2-2 in the 7th inning. Rice goes. Sinker is hit down to second. They can't get the double play. Safe at second, out at first. And the run is in. So that was the big play. Do you turn Rice loose or don't you? If he's not going, they get the double play. But he was going, and he was not only there, but safe. And the run is in. So the error gets even larger. Otherwise, the inning is over.
He got the sinker in a good spot, and then you see Rice sliding in safe. And it's a decision that'll get lost in the box score. But McNamara, if it's a strikeout, it's a throw him out. But he makes the move, lets Rice start, and gets the big run. Watch Barrett scoring the tie-breaking run.
So a key decision by John McNamara. And the Sox lead 3-2, and Gedman hits it foul. 0-1. In the inning, Barrett walked. Buckner grounded out. Barrett was going, and Buckner, throwing his bat at the ball, prevented a force play. Rice hit a routine ground ball that Knight threw away. That put runners at first and third, and McNamara had Rice going, and that turns out to be a big decision.
And once again, that base on balls, just like it got to Clemens in the 5th inning with Strawberry, it gets McDowell here in the 7th.
0-1. 0-2, and for the first time, despite the fact he's been on base all night long and all series long, Marty Barrett finally scores a run, and it is a big one. Sinker hit into the hole. Now they're going to wave Rice in. Mookie's got a chance to get him to Carter. He is out at the plate.
Mookie lets it go on a fly. Carter, once he catches the ball, he knows he can ride Rice inside. Now he makes him slide to the inside, never gets the home plate. Watch Dale Ford. He wants to see if Carter holds the ball, and once he does, he calls him out. But Carter rides him inside.
It is 3-2 Boston.
First, McDowell walked the leadoff hitter, Marty Barrett, who was sacrificed to second by Bill Buckner. Then Jim Rice grounded weakly to third, but Ray Knight hurried his throw, and the Sox had runners on first and third with 1 out. Knight had gone from hero to goat in a matter of a few innings, especially when his error proved even more costly after Dwight Evans hit what would have been an inning-ending ground out to second. Still, if Rice hadn't run on the pitch, the Mets could have turned a double play. Instead, the Sox had a 3-2 lead, which they threatened to increase even further when Rich Gedman singled to left 1 batter later. But Mookie Wilson charged the ball and threw out Rice at home to end the Boston rally.
Right now, Ray Knight is very much a part of New York and a part of this game. It was Knight who was able to score a run in the 5th inning to tie up the game, and it is Knight's error on the throw to Hernandez that gives the Red Sox the go-ahead run. It's the kind of a play you live with all through the long winter. However, he has a chance to erase it with this time at bat. He is struck out and singled, 1 for 2. In the Mets bullpen, since McDowell is due up 4th, Jesse Orosco begins to throw. And so for the second time tonight, Roger Clemens has been given a lead. Earlier 2-0, now 3-2. And Calvin Schiraldi, the former Met, begins to throw back of Clemens. Knight 1 for 2. And that's hit on a line right at Dwight Evans. 1 away. Boy, the Evans and Knight connection is a strong one in this game. And Mookie Wilson coming up.
Remember, Mookie fouled off a number of fastballs and then hit a curveball into right field for a base hit.
And on that play, Evans kicked it, and Knight took third and eventually scored as Danny Heap hit into a double play. The Mets have had 2 big chances, first and third, and nobody out with a run in the 5th. And Heap hit into a double play. They got the tying run. They had first and third and 1 out in the 6th, and Carter struck out looking. The Mets have not dragged 1 bunt towards Buckner at first in 6 games.
That's really hard to believe.
Yeah, it sure is. He was late, 1 and 2.
In fact, we saw Tommy Lasorda before the game. What was he moaning about? Against us, that's all they do. He bunts in batting practice against us. I'm talking about Dykstra.
Wilson will be followed by the youngster Kevin Elster. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 and 2. Ball 3 to Mookie.
No curveballs yet.
Big bouncer down to second baseman Marty Barrett. 2nd out. 2 down in the 7th. Kevin Elster the batter. Roger McDowell due to follow him, but Orosco still throwing in the pen. Henderson, Owen, and Clemens are due up in the 8th inning for Boston.
You know, you look at your scorecard, man, and only 1 inning did the leadoff man get on so far for the Mets, and he was able to score. Clemens does a great job of, it seems like, making the other club hit with at least 1 out and trying to score.
On deck, Lee Mazzilli comes out of the Mets dugout. So if there's a chance to hit for McDowell, Mazzilli will be the one to do it. So Kevin Elster. Ball 1. Up. Excuse me. Late call for Dale.
There was a good example of framing a pitch. You saw how Gedman caught it. He didn't catch it coming up. He really backhanded the ball.
0-2. It was a little more than a month ago that Kevin Elster got his first major league hit. Now here he is against the probable Cy Young Award winner of the American League in the 6th game of the World Series. 0-2. 0-1. Two balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away, fastball. Fastball, pop foul off first. Buckner limping over, but it's going to be out of play. Billy trying to climb the tarp roller. Remember the way Gene Kelly did that dance and singing in the rain, one foot in the street and one on the sidewalk? That's the way Buckner's playing.
You really come up with them. Buckner and Gene Kelly in the same sentence.
Well, in that scene. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kevin Elster. Fouled away. Buckner has changed yet again. Remember the other night he had 1 high top and 1 regular. He's back to 2 high tops.
I tell you, he's leading this series in conversations.
2-2 to Kevin Elster. And it's a fly ball to right center. Henderson is there. So the Mets go quietly in the 7th inning. It's the first time they've been retired in order since the 4th. And at the end of 7, 3-2 Boston.
All right, so now Clemens has a 1-run lead. He's thrown 117 pitches through 6 innings. But keep in mind, this is a different era. Roger Clemens had lots of games where he threw 130, 140, even sometimes more than 150 pitches. And he hadn't thrown that many in Game 4 because he came out after 4 1/3. Bottom of the 7th, Ray Knight, looking to atone for the error that led to the Red Sox run in the top half, hits it hard to right field, but he's retired, 1 out. Dwight Evans with the catch.
Clem was throwing great that night. I mean, he was rested and he was throwing hard, I thought. He's kind of vintage Roger.
Here you are, Mookie.
Yeah, Rogers, we didn't want Roger to get this deep in the game. You know, that's the one thing we did not want. You know, we figured we could get to him like we did last time and get into the bullpen a little sooner, but that didn't work out as well.
Well, one thing you did well, though, you fouled off a ton of pitches, the Mets did in this game. Roger ends this inning with 134 pitches. 44 of those were foul balls by the Mets.
So he threw 17 pitches in this bottom of the 7th, which is going to end here with Kevin Elster, who has come off the bench and is playing shortstop at this point, flying out to Dave Henderson in center. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Clemens, who comes walking off here without any apparent signs of duress, but something's brewing.
Something's brewing, but, you know, you talk about the 17 pitches in that inning, but all of them out of the windup, it wasn't a stressful inning for him at all. He seems like he's in command of the game at this point.
What did you guys think?
I thought he was. I mean, I thought it was like Cal was saying. I just thought it was, you know, here we go. We're going to jump on Rogers' back and sail it on in. And, you know, to me, sitting on the bench, it looked like I said, vintage Roger. He had all systems go and was on. It was just kind of marching to the finish line.
Now, Calvin, if this was any time within the last, you know, decade or so, you would have been up, even though it's the ace Roger Clemens. He's thrown 7 innings. You wouldn't necessarily be in the game, but you'd be up and getting ready by this point. What were you doing that night after 7 innings?
Watching the game. Enjoying watching Roger pitch. And I mean, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I might get in, but there's been no, especially with that inning right there, they're not going to pull him. And I don't blame them. So it's just like I'm just enjoying the game.
In the 8th inning, Dave Henderson, Spike Owen, and Roger Clemens. And Roger McDowell a strike. This will be McDowell's last inning since he is due to bat first in the bottom of the 8th. Henderson, 2 fly balls and a ground ball. Foul the other way. Stottlemyre and Johnson. They'll have a hitter for McDowell and Dykstra and Backman in the bottom of the 8th. Meanwhile, McNamara and Dwight Evans back to the lead again. Ground ball hard to Elster, up his arm and on out into center. That thing was hit hard and it ate him up.
He looked like he was in great position and may have taken a bad hop at the last minute. We'll watch it. Because he looks like he's ready right here. He's in good shape. He's not letting the ball play him. And look at him take the bad hop and go right off his arm.
Now we'll wait for the verdict of the 3 scorers. Red Foley of the New York Daily News, Dave Nightingale of the Sporting News, Charlie Scoggins of the Lowell, Massachusetts Sun. And the judgment is not reflected on the scoreboard as yet. The one thing for McDowell, he's not very lucky tonight, and it's now going to be flashed to hit. So the bad hop single off the left arm of Kevin Elster. Spike Owen, 3 for 3. Owen during the year hit less than $150 against right-handers in the American League. He hit 138. So they have him bunt, and it's a good bunt. McDowell makes the play, and down to second goes Henderson.
Clemens has been called back, it seems like.
They are going to the bench, and Mike Greenwell will be the hitter. Show you how long ago it was when the Red Sox won a World Series. Look at what it cost to buy things. It's also interesting that the last time the Red Sox won the World Series, 1918, in March of that year, Congress enacted legislation for the clocks to be moved 1 hour in order to serve and save electric energy. It was called daylight saving time, March 31st. So just as the Red Sox are trying to turn back the hands of time tonight, we remind you to turn back the hands of your clock before going to bed tonight. Turn it back 1 hour. So Roger goes 7 innings and goes out winning 3-2. And he'll give the ball to Calvin Schiraldi. But right now, here's Mike Greenwell. Strike. Greenwell has had 2 at-bats in the series. One other when he walked. Good breaking ball. Boy, they really broke that one off.
And had it in a good spot, low on the inside. There was nothing Greenwell could do once he had made up his mind to swing. It's a wonder he didn't hit his ankle, the right ankle. He was way out of the strike zone, and Gary Carter did a good job blocking it.
0-2 the count to Mike Greenwell with Henderson at second, 1 out in the 8th, 3-2 Boston. And he chased another one, and Carter will tag him out. So Greenwell strikes out on a couple of very good breaking balls. Henderson holding at second, but now you have Wade Boggs and Davy Johnson going out to the mound. Remember, Orozco had been throwing, but I think he would rather hit for McDowell and then use Orozco. So let's see about walking Boggs and going head to head with Marty Barrett. There's Orozco just sitting quietly on the bench, number 47.
It's one of those spots that Johnson was out there so quickly, I mean, away from discussion, that he's probably just wanted to say, hey, look, you got a base open, Barrett's coming up. How do you feel? And it's McDowell's answer that dictates the move.
Wade Boggs singled off Knight's glove in the first inning and scored. Had a hit and run single when Backman broke to cover second as Owen was running, and Boggs hit it behind Backman into right center. In the 4th inning, he grounded to short, and in the 6th inning, he hit into a force play, rolling the ball again to Backman.
I got to believe that they're going to widen the strike zone with Boggs. I can't see him pitching to him with Barrett coming up, even though Marty's having a hot year. This guy is a 350 hitter.
And how? And Barrett tonight lined out to center, twice single to left and walked. Now let's see what they do with Wade Boggs. 4-1. Missed inside, ball 2.
They're going to put him on. He got to, huh?
I would think. I don't know why they'd fool around with him at all.
Well, they thought maybe he chased that real bad ball. Once he got him 2 balls and no strikes, they'll put him on.
The Major League's leading hitter?
Well, you take a chance. I mean, you don't know. Sometimes in the World Series, funny things do happen, and maybe he would chase that first bad ball and the second one, but now with 2 balls and no strikes, you can't afford to take a chance.
No, indeed. So Boggs goes to first. Henderson is at second, and with 2 out, here's that man Barrett again. Every time you look up, Marty Barrett is right in the thick of it. He scored the go-ahead run in the 7th inning when he led off the inning against McDowell and walked. He's had 2 singles, and the one time they retired him, He hit a line drive right at Lenny Dykstra in center field.
Did you see that average? It's like a playground average. 458.
Ball one. Barrett, who likes the ball away and has shown he can go to right field, but tonight when they pitched him in, he went the other way and twice single to left.
He draws those arms in when they try to jam him, but he likes to hit from the middle of the diamond to the right field line.
1 ball, no strikes. Ball 2. Now he's really in trouble. 3-0, and on deck, Bill Buckner.
Walks him, he may force Davey to make a move.
And he doesn't want to do it because then he'd have to hit for Orozco since he's leading off the bottom of the 8th. So this is a very big inning for McDowell. Down the pipe. 3-1. And he's way outside to load him up. Now let's see if that forces Davey Johnson's hand and ruins his strategy. Do you blow everything? Well, he can't afford to wait, evidently. Will he make 2-for-1 switch? Well, the last man to make out was his shortstop, but he's already used Santana. So Johnson almost forced here because of the bad hop single and then this walk, and he has to bring in Orozco, and he hates to do it. The whole idea was to hit from McDowell and have Orozco pitch the 9th inning, but he can't do it. Jesse Orozco is forced into the game at this juncture to get Bill Buckner for the 3rd out because the Sox, leading 3-2, have loaded the bases. Orozco, a 3/4 style pitcher who will drop down against left-handers. Pretty good fastball, a very good slider, and he's even throwing a few split-fingered fastballs.
He comes from first base when he sidearms you, especially with the breaking ball. He'll back you out of the box, which is what he did to Buckner when he faced him before.
Orozco won 3 times in the playoffs against Houston. He won games 3, 5, and was the winning pitcher in Bobby Ojeda's game 6. So here is Buckner with the bases loaded, 2 out in the 8th, 3-2 Boston. Henderson, Boggs, and Barrett out on the line. High fly ball. Dykstra has it under control. 1 pitch for the big out, and 3 are left. And at the end of 7½, 3-2 Red Sox.
Well, here is John McNamara's account of what Clemens said as he came off the mound at Shea Stadium and entered the dugout after the 7th inning.
He came off the mound in the bottom of the inning, and we were waiting there at the steps to congratulate him, you know, getting out of the 7th. And he came down the steps and he said, "That's all I can pitch," quote unquote. And my answer to him was, "You got to be shitting me." And he said, "No." And he showed us his finger, middle finger of the right hand, where he had the start of a paper tear on his middle finger. And we'll correct this right here and now. He had no blister whatsoever. And how that got started, I don't know. But it got spread rapidly, and it continued over the next 2 years. About the blister took him out of the ballgame. And that is not the case, as sure as I'm sitting here.
All right, we are into a little bit of a he said situation here, because last week I spoke with Clemens, and here's what he had to say about what happened after the 7th inning. Roger Clemens.
I think I was getting ready to hit, and if I'm not mistaken, McNamara pinched hit Mike Greenwell for me. So again, I don't know why he would say something like that if it was to deflect attention from the game. My recollection is I was at the bat rack putting my gloves on, or getting my bat, my helmet, or whatever, and getting ready to go hit. I think I only given up 4 hits. So, I've pitched 100 pitch games. I pitched 150 pitch games. I think I threw a 164 pitch game at some point in my career. So, I don't know where that came from.
So no question in your mind, you expressed clearly That even though, yeah, you had a little problem with your finger, you could continue and you wanted to continue and you expected to continue?
Yeah, I mean, again, little problem with my finger. You know, if they're saying they didn't see anything with my finger, I mean, there was blood on the baseballs and crazy things like that, but it wasn't going to affect me to continue.
Roger Clemens was given a 2-0 lead and was pitching a no-hitter for 4 innings. The Mets finally got to him for hits and 2 runs to tie the game in the 5th, but they really let him off the hook, and he fought his way out of a corner. With a run in and runners at first and third, Danny Heap hit into a double play. In the 6th inning, with the score tied, the Mets had runners at first and third, and Gary Carter was caught looking. And then Darryl Strawberry hit into a force play. And then the error by Ray Knight is now the difference in the game, and Clemens gives the ball to Calvin Schiraldi. Schiraldi, the former Met, who had the penthouse and basement existence in Anaheim, is now asked to get the last 6 outs of the World Series. And standing in his way, first off, is Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli followed by Dykstra and Backman. The Met pinch hitters are 0 for 5 in the series. Right.
And there you saw his best pitch right there, his fastball. He just comes in and fires.
Slicing fly ball. Rice in pursuit. It'll curl foul and out of play. Down in the Mets bullpen, right-hander Rick Aguilera is loosening up. Aguilera was up very early and now very late. One and 2. Fastball full to the hole. Base hit into right field for Mazzilli. The tying run is aboard. Mazzilli indicating he's expecting a runner. The runner is not coming yet, if there's going to be one at all. This crowd has reason to cheer. 39 times this year the Mets came from behind to win. And remember, they set a Mets record of 55 victories at home. And Mazzilli, after questioning Johnson, got the answer, you're the runner. Len Dykstra, Wally Backman, and Keith Hernandez. The Red Sox are looking bunt. Dykstra has struck out twice, grounded to short against Clemens. There's the bunt. Schiraldi's going to go to second in the dirt. Everybody's safe.
He's a bit undecided. His only play, first base, he throws a sinker.
I'll assume until we hear otherwise, it is not a sacrifice. I think a good throw would have gotten a man. So we'll double check. Okay, they'll make it a sacrifice. And then the error allowing Dykstra to reach first. Now the question is, now will Backman bunt to get the tying run to third and a possible winning run to second?
They're really charging hard. Buckner is way in, and Backman, who can handle that bat.
Backman struck out, fly to left, single to the hole at short on a smothering backhanded stop by Spike Owen. He was second in the league in sacrifice bunts this year. The bunt is down. Schiraldi has to go to first.
had to come in because of Backman, and therefore could not get back to the bag in time, with Mazzilli coming down to third, and Schiraldi's only play was to first. The bunt comes right back to Schiraldi. Now he looks at third. He's got to play it, but luckily he doesn't throw because Boggs couldn't get back. And he makes the one sure out. Now look where Boggs is, and that's the key to this play. He starts in and says, I better get back, but Schiraldi sees he's not back to the bag and wisely goes to first.
One out, second and third. And for the third time tonight, the Mets have a golden opportunity. Stanley and Zambito are throwing in the Red Sox bullpen. Hernandez and Carter are due up. Keith Hernandez flied to center, fouled out to third, and singled in the sixth inning. 3-2 Red Sox, bottom of the eighth, and the Mets trying to come back.
I doubt if he gets a chance to hit here.
So Hernandez will get 4 wide ones. That takes the bat right out of his hand. And Gary Carter will have his second golden chance. You remember Carter in the sixth inning with the game tied had runners at first and third and was called out on strikes. In a moment he'll be coming up with the bases loaded and 1 out. And the chant, Gary, Gary, and the people are up. And Shea Stadium is a madhouse. Mazzilli at third, Dykstra at second, Hernandez at first, and 1 out. Ball 1. Ball 2. Ball 3. This will kill you.
Marty Barrett asking for a strike. That's all he's asking for.
Reno swung on and lined to left, right at Rice. Tagging up is Mazzilli to score, and down to third goes Dykstra. It's a brand new ball game.
Davy Johnson gambling 3-0 for a base hit, got the sacrifice fly. Rice's high throw allowed Dykstra to go to third.
And boy, does that take a lot of weight and a lot of heat and a lot of pressure off the on-deck hitter, Ray Knight. He's off the hook. Now Darryl Strawberry with runners at first and third in a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the eighth.
Buckner behind him.
Fouled away.
Not even worried about Keith, and Keith is pointing to Strawberry. Keep that shoulder in there. He was patting his right shoulder. Keep that front shoulder in there.
Darrell has walked twice and hit into a force play. He has 2 stolen bases. 0-1. Dykstra bluffing down the line. Fouled at the plate. 0-2. So just as Ray Knight's era gave the Red Sox a big run in the 7th, so the throwing error by Calvin Schiraldi has given the Mets the tying run in the 8th. Hernandez is going on a fly ball to right field. Evans looking over at Henderson. It's Henderson. But the Mets scratched for 1 run, 1 hit. There were 3 sacrifices. 3-3 in the 8th. So Roger goes 7 innings and goes out winning 3-2.
Well, perhaps unexpectedly, he is out as we go to the bottom of the 8th, and Calvin Schiraldi comes out of the bullpen, and the first man he faces is Lee Mazzilli, pinch hitting for Jesse Orosco.
My thoughts here again, not to walk anybody, get ahead and see what happens. I mean, we knew he could hit a fastball, but that's what I throw, and so I'm just trying to get ahead.
Big pinch hit from Mazzilli leading off the bottom of the 8th. Now, a lot of interesting things are happening here. Davey Johnson could have double switched and didn't, and Mookie, that would have taken you out of the game.
Yes.
He didn't do it.
Well,
he lost Jesse Orosco. Lost Jesse Orosco with a single pitch.
Yeah.
Orosco got Buckner out to end the inning, but now he's out of the game. Calvin, you make the play at second, but it doesn't work on the bunt.
That was an attempted play. I just didn't gather myself. I threw from down low. I tell my pitchers to always throw up top, and I throw it sidearm and make a terrible throw.
So Dykstra with the attempted sacrifice, and it turns out better than that. The Mets have first and second and nobody out. The discussion here is what?
I have no clue. I have no idea.
Punch out the side, I think.
I'm thinking you got the third base line, but
well, you have to think of bunt plays again in order here with a guy like Backman first and second.
Yeah, he was very, very, very good at bunting. I mean, he could bunt, you know, either direction. He really bailed us out many a days with this bunt.
So after a Keith Hernandez intentional walk, Gary Carter is at the plate. The count went to 3-0, and he's hacking on 3-0 here. And that gets the run.
I'm actually thankful for that in a sense. I mean, yeah, you give up 1, but you got your second out, and you're still in the game. The lead run is not scored yet. You've given up a 1-run lead, but there could have been a lot more. Could have gotten a lot worse.
We go to the 9th inning, all tied 3-3. The Mets make the 2-for-1 switch. Lee Mazzilli, who batted for Jesse Orosco, stays in the game and goes into right field. Rick Aguilera is the new pitcher, and he will pitch in Darryl Strawberry's spot. In the 9th, the Red Sox will have Jim Rice, Dwight Evans, and Rich Gedman. It is interesting that before the league championship series, before the playoffs with Houston, backup catcher Ed Hearn of the Mets said, I have a hunch the guy who's going to play a big part in the league championship series and the World Series will be Rick Aguilera. Well, here he is, tied up in the 9th inning of a must-win game for New York.
Please report to the press game.
Boy, 2 big decisions by the managers. Carter being allowed to hit 3 balls and no strikes, really drills one to left field for the sacrifice fly. And remember, McNamara started his runner to pick up the tie-breaking run. So those little decisions that get lost in the box score.
And Rice makes a poor throw. It can't be cut off. There's no chance to get the tying run, and it allowed the winning run to go to third. The possible winning run anyway.
And leading off the 9th inning.
So Mazzilli, who was the pinch hitter and single, worked his way around to score, stays in the game in right field. And now let's see about the Sox. Rice has walked, struck out, flied to right, and of course reached on that bad throw by Ray Knight that looked like it was going to be his own personal nightmare. Fouled away. On the corner. Strike 2. By the way, in checking with the scorer on that throw in the dirt by Schiraldi, it was ruled a sacrifice fielder's choice. No error. Rice strikes out.
Fastball just blew it right by him.
Dwight Evans doubled off the left center field wall to drive in a run, flied to right, walked, and then you remember they started Rice with 1 out, and Evans hit a one-hopper to Backman, but Rice was able to get into second base. Evans was out, and then eventually Gedman singled and Rice was thrown out at the plate. Strike. 1 out, top of the 9th. There's a breaking ball, and Elster bobbles, picks it, drops it, and the kid's burned. An error. Remember, Danny Heap batted for Rafael Santana in the 5th inning and hit into a double play, and young Kevin Elster is there, and he can't handle it. Right out of the glove, and then out of the hand.
You could see he had it. He felt he had it all away when you saw him pat that glove going after it, but once it popped out of there, he just couldn't find the handle.
It's the Mets' 2nd error and the 3rd error in this pressure-packed game, and the batter is Rich Gedman. Flied to right, struck out, flied to left, and singled to left. Breaking ball, and he missed with it.
When you saw Aguilera waving like that, he was asking the shortstop and the second baseman who's covering. Elster said, "I'll be covering."
1-0. And it's a busted bat, ground ball. Backman feeds Elster, and he goes to Hernandez. Fasten your seatbelts. It's 3-3, bottom of the 9th. This was Ray Knight, the time of the game, the bottom of the 7th inning. His error in the top of the 7th inning was a major contribution to the Red Sox taking a lead. This is Ray Knight in the bottom of the 9th, leading off in a 3-3 tie. Knight struck out, single to center to drive in Strawberry in the 5th inning, and lined hard to right field in the 7th inning. Calvin Schiraldi now battling for a decision. Ball 1, breaking ball. Ball 2. Ball 3. Ball 4.
Looking for a sign, but if he does anything but bunt, they may have to call in to, I don't know what. Buckner's setting up a defense now. That base on balls in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning always spelling trouble. And you get fancy here, you have to get outs.
The entire infield getting it squared away as Boggs comes over. You have Mookie Wilson followed by Kevin Elster and then Lee Mazzilli. Remember, Mazzilli stayed in the game. Wilson struck out, single to right, and grounded out. He's bunting and fouled it. 0-1. The bunt out to get it is Gedman, and throws. Not in time, and we we have our first argument of the series. He was on the bag, John said. You can't blow that call. On that blast bag. Why? You couldn't have seen it, John said. Here it is again. You be the judge. What the Red Sox contention was to Jim Evans, you couldn't have seen that Owens was on the bag. And Jim Evans said, I saw it. And the Sox said you couldn't have seen it if you called him safe. Apparently they wanted Evans to talk to another umpire. Here's the play. You can see him coming off the bag. So Jim Evans was right there to call it. And now the Mets have first and second and nobody out in the bottom of the ninth in a tied-up game. Howard Johnson will be coming up to bat for Kevin Elster. Howard Johnson. And the Sox hold another meeting. So once again, we can take a look at our first truly controversial play of the series.
Barrett is claiming that he had his foot on the bag when he had the ball.
And I could read McNamara's lips saying to Evans, you couldn't have seen it. But Jim was right there. There's the foot.
Where's Evans' position? He's in perfect position. Barrett is sure of it. Look at him.
Maintaining, of course, that the sliding night had obscured his vision. There will be an error charge to Rich Gedman. Now here's Hojo trying to move the men along. Missed it. 0-1.
So if he gets it down that third base line, Boggs is not given quite as much ground as he gave the last time. He gets it down the third base line. It could be a base hit. That grass will hold it and slow it down.
Fielder's choice, error 2 if you're keeping score. 1 ball, 1 strike, and he was not around that time. Ground ball foul to Bill Robinson. Surprising. They have Hojo up there swinging. Bottom of the ninth and nobody out. And you have a left-hand hitter, Mazzilli, on deck. Then another left-hand hitter, Dykstra and Backman. So Davies rolled the dice with Howard Johnson. 1-2. Foul tipped. He struck out. On a check swing that ticked the bat, Johnson strikes out. One very big out. And Lee Mazzilli coming up.
And unless he gets that run in, Davies on the firing line once again. That foul tip, the ground ball now, and you're out of the inning.
So Johnson failing with the other Johnson now has Mazzilli, who had the single to open up the 8th inning and scored on Carter's line drive to Jim Rice to tie it up. Mazzilli staying in the game to play right field for Darryl Strawberry in bat 9. Knight at second, Wilson at first, 1 out. Ball 1. On deck is the little man who has played such a big role for the New York Mets, Lenny Dykstra. High fly ball into left field. Going back on it is Rice on the track to handle it. And of course, after that play with Johnson, had he bunted, your winning run would have scored on that. 2 down. Knight still at second base. And the batter is Lenny Dykstra. Dykstra struck out in the first inning, grounded to short in the third, struck out in the sixth, sacrificed in the eighth. On deck, Heath Hernandez. Ground ball, foul. 0-1. Interesting to look tonight that now that Lenny Dykstra comes up with a runner in scoring position, Ray Knight, every man in the Mets lineup has come up with a man in scoring position. And it's 3-3, bottom of the ninth. Mazzilli thinking about that long out to left. 0-1 to Dykstra. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. Giraldi looked back at the mound as if his spikes had caught. 2-1.
Evans is deep in right field. Henderson and Rice not too deep, so there could be a play. There could be a play center and left. Knight not that fast.
With a left-hand hitter up, Knight is not worrying about Barrett. His only concern is Owen, who is bird-dogging him quite a bit. Fouled away. 2-2. Ball 3, a throw back, and Knight just got under the tag by Barrett.
If the throw's on the shortstop side, they got him. Barrett got over there in good shape. It was one of those I'll be there plays. Nothing set before that. Now Gedman's throw, he spots it. He almost has to move out to get away from Dykstra. If it's on the shortstop side, they got him.
Now Ray Knight, who was cheating, trying to get the extra steps in the event of a base hit, is now given the luxury because of the off-the-line throw. He will be in motion 3-2. So what a big play that was.
That ball was there ahead of him. It just a little bit on the wrong side.
The runners go on a full count. There they go instead of fake. Knight's the winning run at second base. The runners go on a fly ball to left field. Jim Rice is there. And we're going to extra innings. And the key play in the inning, besides the throw to second, Davy Johnson's option to not bunt with Howard Johnson. And the Mets lead 2. They've left 7 in the game. And at the end of 9, a 3-3 tie.
Dykstra, the little left-hand batter, wins. Now the stretch by Giraldi. The pitch. Outside, ball 3. Throw to second, and he's safe. Knight just got back. Gedman threw to second. Marty Barrett came over to cover, and Knight was just barely safe. Now that's Ray Knight trying to get as big a lead as he can so he can score on a single. And Gedman, knowing that, had Barrett sneak in behind him. Knight with a head-first dive just got back in a cloud of dust at second base.
This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. We have a moment we would like to salute Jack Bennett. Jack Bennett started at NBC in 1952. He was a top sports cameraman for the World Series for 20 years. He is now and has been the director of technical operations for the past 5 years, and this is his last World Series. And we're sure making Game 6 a game to remember. With Howard Johnson staying in the game at shortstop, Dave Henderson will lead it off. Would you like to roll back the clock to Game 5? The Sox were one strike away from being eliminated when Henderson took a Donnie Moore pitch and hit it out. And Anaheim, that was one pitch away from celebrating. Henderson broke Gene Mauch's heart. Now it's 3-3 in the 10th. Henderson has flied to left, flied to center, grounded to short, and singled to short on the bad hop that struck Kevin Elster on the left arm. So Howard Johnson is the shortstop. And Henderson at the plate, and Rick Aguilera going to work. If you look at the Red Sox bench and you think of pinch hitters, they have only right-handed batters to go against Aguilera if they are thinking of batting for Schiraldi. Only right-hand hitters. And of course the #1 right-hand hitter, Don Baylor. And you can see he's loosening up. And a drive to left. Going back on it is Mookie Wilson, and this one is gone. Henderson has done it again. And a note on Rick Aguilera. He gives up the most home runs on the staff.
It looked like a fastball, and there you see Roger Clemens, and look at this bench.
And it is 4-3 Red Sox on the lightning-like home run of Dave Henderson.
And he knew when he touched it off, and what a difference in the swing between this one on Aguilera and Ojeda.
A strike to Spike Owen, who is 3 for 3. So the Mets disdained the bunt, and the Red Sox make them pay with a home run. 1 ball and 1 strike. Slicing foul off third, out of play.
You think that Henderson hasn't been on a roll?
Just look at him. 1-2 to count to Spike Owen. That takes care of Spike Owen. 1 out in the 10th inning. Second strikeout for Rick Aguilera. And of course that home run does a lot of things, and among others, here comes Calvin Schiraldi. It looked like Baylor was going to hit for him until Henderson ripped it. On 1. Schiraldi followed by Wade Boggs. Mazzilli short and shallow in right field. That's a strike. 0-2. That takes care of Schiraldi. So 2 out in the 10th. Roger Clemens. 1 minute he was pitching a no-hitter. The next minute he was tied. And the Sox bullpen, that's Al Nipper chatting with him. 3 outs away. Ball 1. Boggs, 2 singles, grounded out, hit into a force play, and walked intentionally. He's 2 for 4. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike. To repeat, Backman, Hernandez, and Carter in the bottom of the 10th. And the Mets with 39 come from behind wins. And Henderson and company trying to take it and run. For the Red Sox, including that wild Game 5 of the playoffs with the Angels, the Boston Red Sox have won 19 games in their final at-bat this year. And that's hit in the alley in left center, but it's slicing, and Mookie can't get it. It's going to the wall. Boggs into second base with a stand-up double. So a home run and a double in the 10th inning. And the batter now, Marty Barrett.
Second baseman, Marty Barrett.
Marty Barrett lined out to center, 2 singles to left, and 2 walks. In there, 1-1.
Aguilera kind of quick pitched him that time, caught him between waving the bat. Although Marty might have been taking that pitch all the way, but he certainly didn't appear ready for the first time in this entire series, I might add.
0-1. Backman deep at second. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. Three and 1. On deck, Bill Buckner. Little slider for a strike. 3-2. Boggs waiting to be picked up with 2 out. 3-2 to Marty Barrett. And it's hit into center, base hit. Dykstra charging. Here comes Boggs. He will score. The throw backed up by Aguilera, and Barrett goes to second. And it is 5-3 Red Sox. And what a big run that was.
Well, the scouting report says run on the Met outfielders, and Hernandez, as we mentioned, was trying to get Dykstra to move in, but with 2 outs, Boggs broke at the crack of the bat, and Dykstra's throw is so high, nobody can cut it off. They pick up the extra base. And there again is Barrett. That is the 5th time he's been on base tonight.
So Marty Barrett puts extra weight on the Mets dugout, and here is Bill Buckner. Barrett taking second on that high throw to the plate. Buckner lined out to right, flied to center and to right, grounded out. Ball 1.
Is that ever going to be a long press conference for Davy Johnson if it ends like this?
In the bottom of the 9th inning, Ray Knight walked. Mookie Wilson bunted. The throw to second was high by Gedman. Jim Evans ruled that Owens was off the bag, and there was first and second, nobody out. A bunt puts the winning run at third base. But Davy Johnson opted to have Howard Johnson swing away, and he eventually struck out. Foul ball. And then, as so often happens after one decision, something immediately happens to make you rue the decision. Mazzilli, a fly ball deep to left that would have scored the winning run. But instead, the run is held at first and second. And when the Mets did not seize the opportunity, the Red Sox did in the 10th inning. Home run by Henderson, double by Boggs, single by Barrett, 2 runs over, and a 5-3 Boston lead. Hit him. So Buckner is nailed by the pitch, and that will bring up Jim Rice.
There's nothing you can do when that ball is right there.
Left fielder, Jim Rice.
So Buckner at first, Barrett holding at second, and Jim Rice coming up. High foul, out of play, 0-1. To repeat, in case you're not keeping score, Backman, Hernandez, and Carter due up in the bottom of the 10th, and Aguilera's spot is due up 4th. 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2. And that's lined to right. Mazzilli has a bead on it and puts it away. But the Red Sox come up with 2 big runs on a single, double home run. And at the end of 9 1/2, Red Sox 5, Mets 3.
You see the difference in that guy's swing against him and Ojeda? Oh, man.
If Howard Johnson is good enough to swing, how come he wasn't? And a drive to left. Going back on it is Mookie Wilson, and this one is gone. Henderson has done it again.
At this point in the game right here, I'm out of the game. They've told me I'm out of the game because I'm due up to hit, and then Dave does that, and I'm already sitting down, relaxed, and now I've got to find a bat and find a helmet to put on to go up and look stupid swing. That's
so
great.
your spot is coming up when in this inning? After Henderson?
After you got Spike next, and then me.
So mentally, you've basically shut systems down.
Yes.
You're out of the game.
I'm out of the game.
But now
I'm back. Now he hits the home run. Now I got to scramble to find a helmet and to find a bat.
And as it happens, Boggs delivers a double. You don't do anything at the plate, no surprise. But Boggs delivers a double, and Barrett, who simply refuses to be retired in October, gets a base hit, and you've got an insurance run. You're up 5-3.
I'm going to go back to what Calvin said. I thought that was very interesting. It doesn't sound, correct me if I'm wrong, Calvin, that it was not presented to you conditionally, that if this happens, you're in, or if this happens,
They
you're not
said
in.
you're done. I mean, we're not expecting Dave to go up and hit the home run the first pitch. Hopefully he gets on, Spike bunts him over, or whatever. So, yeah, things changed when he hits the home run, and now I've got to try to refocus, and obviously didn't do a very good job of it.
5-3 Red Sox, and Wally Backman a strike. Backman is 1 for 3. Calvin Schiraldi trying to finish off the Mets and the 1986 baseball season. Fouled away, 0-2.
And it looks, Vin, with that swing that we're not going to see either Dykstra or Backman beat out a bunt, which really is a story in itself.
Our particular thanks in sending you all the excitement and drama tonight to Mike Weissman, to George Finkel, Harry Coyle, and all the fellows who have worked so hard to bring you this World Series. 0-2 to Wally Backman. Little poke job to left. Rice coming over. 1 away. It is tough enough to lose. It is a long enough winter anyway. But when you have made a decision and it will stick in your craw all winter, it will make the offseason almost interminable. And that's the life of a big league manager. Here's Keith Hernandez. Fly to center, fouled out, single to center, walked intentionally, 1 for 3. Right. Rick Aguilera, who gave up the home run to Henderson. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck, Gary Carter. So this at bat for Keith Hernandez, very important. Trying to make Carter tying run. 1-1. Ball 2. And that's hit to dead center with Henderson going to run it down. And the Mets are down to their last out.
Here's the catcher, Gary Carter.
Tonight's NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game is Marty Barrett. Miller Lite happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Marty Barrett to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Marty had 3 singles and 2 walks. Handled everything hit his way. Kevin Mitchell is on deck to bat for Rick Aguilera, and Gary Carter at the plate. And he pops it foul, out of play. Gedman coming back. It is out of play. Carter had two great chances as we go back through the history books. And the Red Sox are 2 strikes away. In 1918, when the Red Sox won, each player received $1,000 as the winner's share. This year, each player will get more than $70,000. 1-1. The oil can, at least for the moment, looks like he has tomorrow off. 1-1. Dave Henderson joining Carlton Fisk with dramatic 6th-game home runs. And Roger Clemens hoping for that last out. Lined into left field, base hit for Carter, and the Mets are still alive. Hit number 2 off Schiraldi, number 6 for New York, and with 2 out, representing the tying run, Kevin Mitchell.
Number 7, Kevin Mitchell.
John McNamara guiding his infield and also checking his outfield for Mitchell. And the outfield deep and straight away. Barrett is on the rim, and Owen is deep at short. Check swing foul. 0-1. Mitchell has had 5 at-bats in the series. He's 1 for 5. Carter at first. Curveball, and that's going to be hit to center. Base hit. And now suddenly with 2 out in the 10th inning, the tying runs are aboard, and Ray Knight will be the batter. Have been very important for 24 victories during the regular year. They were very important for 7 innings tonight. And now all Roger Clemens can do is fold them and watch. Bill Fisher going out to talk to Calvin Schiraldi. And of course that second run that appeared to be window dressing. The double by Boggs and the single by Barrett. That second run now becomes a tremendous weight around the necks of the Mets.
There really isn't a whole lot of strategy right about now. He's just reminding everybody of the situation. The big guy is Mitchell over there at first base.
The Mets left 2 men on base in the 8th. They left 2 men on base when they had a chance to win it in the 9th, and they have 2 men on base in the bottom of the 10th. Knight is 1 for 3 with a walk. Strike with a fastball at the knees. 0-1. Little roller up along third. Boggs is going to let it roll. It goes foul. So Knight comes back to hit with the count no balls and 2 strikes. Each team playing fast and loose with the baseball, as the error column would indicate. Zambito and Stanley are standing up in the bullpen for John McNamara, but neither man is throwing. And that's going to be hit into center field. Base hit. Here comes Carter to score, and the tying run is at third in Kevin Mitchell. And the Mets refuse to go quietly. With 2 out, they come scrambling back with consecutive hits by Carter, Mitchell, and Knight. And John McNamara goes to the mound. 5-4 Red Sox, and he's also going to the bullpen. He wants Bob Stanley to pitch to Mookie Wilson. So the Mets, 39 times they came from behind to win, are battling to stay alive.
They are now 1 out away from a World Series championship. They have not had one in 67 years. The last time was 1918. Now Gary Carter carrying the final hopes. The 2-1 delivery, line drive, it'll be a base hit to left field. The tying run, Kevin Mitchell, will come to bat. So Carter keeps it going with a single to left field. Here's the pitch. And a line drive base hit into center field. Now the tying runs are on base. Mitchell delivers a single to center. And Ray Knight will be coming up. Now the pitch on the way. And a soft line drive. It'll be a base hit into center field. Carter around third will score. Mitchell will go to third. A base hit by Ray Knight. The Mets now have the tying run on third. Ray Knight with the Mets down to their final strike gets a base hit to center field. It is now 5-4. Still 2 men down, and Mookie Wilson is coming up.
Calvin Giraldi couldn't do it, and it's up to Bob Stanley, and it's up to Mookie Wilson, and the crowd is alive again, and Rick Aguilera praying that he'll get off the hook. Mookie Wilson struck out, single to right, grounded out, and then sacrificed. And that was the bunt that Gedman fielded and threw high to Spike on at second base.
Dale Ford just checked that ball, rubbing it. Now he's going out to talk to Stanley. I wonder what that's all about.
Stanley throws, among other things, a palm ball. You have the tying run 90 feet away in Kevin Mitchell, and the possible winning run at first in Ray Knight. And here's Mookie. Fouled off. 55,078 here at Shea, and they have really been put through the ringer. One ball, one strike. Ball 2. And on deck, Howard Johnson, who had that most important at-bat in the 9th inning. Fouled away, 2-2. Fouled away again. Fouled away. Tension mounts some more with 2 out in the 10th. 5-4 Red Sox. Ray Knight at first. Kevin Mitchell at third. 2-2 to Mookie Wilson. And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base. And he pops it in the air, foul off to the right. Gedman coming over. He will not have a play. was a wild pitch.
Way inside. Gedman reaches for it. You see he hardly moved as far as shifting, and it gets by him. A wild pitch. Apparently not near where he was looking for the pitch.
5-5 in a delirious 10th inning. Line drive foul.
And Marty Barrett was out of position because they had Knight really picked off, but Stanley didn't see him. There it is again. You see, he just reaches for the ball. Down goes Mookie. It kind of sailed inside. And here comes Barrett in to talk to Stanley, because had Mookie hit just a weak ground ball, Barrett was way out of position because they had a good chance to get Knight at second base.
Can you believe this ball game at Shea?
Oh, brother.
So the winning run is at second base with 2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Ask him if he wants me to go over there and...
If one picture is worth 1,000 words, you have seen about 1,000,000 words. But more than that, you have seen an absolutely bizarre finish to Game 6 of the 1986 World Series. The Mets are not only alive, they are well, and they will play the Red Sox in Game 7 tomorrow. Let's go down on the field in this madhouse to Marv Albert.
The Mets were 1 strike away from elimination. Mookie, have you ever seen anything like this?
I tell you, this whole postseason play has been unbelievable. But you got to give credit to the guys. We don't give up, and the nice and perfect example. We could have easily folded, but everybody battled back. And it was up to me to do my part, and I did the best I could.
What went through your mind as you saw that bouncer going in the direction of first baseman Bill Buckner?
My only thoughts was to beat the pitcher there, and I thought I had a good chance of beating the pitcher, and I think Buckner saw that too, so maybe tried to rush a little bit. And that was it. I knew it wasn't a very hard hit ball, but it had the angle and the spin.
All right, and off the angle and the spin, the man to my right, Ray Knight, scored the winning run, and Ray, you are totally exhausted.
Marv, I am. This is an emotional thing. Physically, you get tired, but mentally, after I made that error and gave them the go-ahead run, I just never felt worse in my life, and I just kept hoping that I'd get up there. This is a game of redeeming features, and thank the good Lord I had the opportunity, and then I wasn't the GOAT. But you don't care about making errors, but you want to win, and we put our heart into this. And I'm just exhausted. I'm happy, but I've never been more tired than I am right now.
Ray, you mentioned the word GOAT. You went from potential GOAT to hero with the bad throw in the 7th inning.
Well, no doubt about it. I laid back on the ball to get the good hop, and it took a little funny hop, and I had a bad grip on it and threw it wild. You never want to make an error in that situation. And I said, if there's any justice in this world with the season I've had and what I came back from, I'll get a chance. And I got that chance, and the good Lord is on my side. Didn't hit the ball that good, but it went in there for me, and here we are winning. And I don't worry about the error. I'll never worry about that error again, but it's been a tough winter for me had we not come back.
All right, 2 outs, 10th inning. You're down by 2 runs. You guys are sitting on the bench. You were down. Did you think it was all over?
I didn't. I honestly didn't. I came in and I said, we've scored 2 runs before, guys. Let's just get it going. Even with 2 outs, I really said a little prayer to get Gary a base hit. He got the base hit, and Mitch got the big hit. I got 0-2, and I just tried to concentrate, and I didn't get much of the ball. I got a hit. We've come back all year when we've had to. I know the character in this ball club, Marv, and I never say die with this club, and I'm not surprised. I just thank the good Lord, because you just wonder how many times it can happen.
All right, what does the victory here tonight mean for a 7th game tomorrow night?
I think it's the way that we won it. We came from behind, which is the first time I think a team in this series has come from behind to win a ball game. And I don't believe it's something as momentum, but I do believe that mentally we got to be really up for tomorrow after coming off and beating the best. And we have to take all can now, and we got a pretty good pitch ourselves going.
All right, do you feel good about going against a guy like Oil Can Boyd, who certainly has had his ups and downs and had his difficulties against the Mets at Fenway?
Well, I tell you what, if you don't feel good about getting into Game 7 after being two runs down with 2 outs, boy, what can we ask for? It's like a rebirth, and we just come out tomorrow, and everything has to turn to our side. But we know the same thing can happen to us. Funny game. I'm thankful we're there tomorrow. I can't think anymore. I'm numb.
All right, 2 of tonight's Met heroes, Ray Knight and Mookie Wilson. Let's get back upstairs to Vin and Joe.
All right, Marvin, as we see a study in contrast, an 11th hour reprieve for Davy Johnson, a heartbroken and downcast John McNamara. We can tell you the winning pitcher was Rick Aguilera. The losing pitcher was Calvin Schiraldi. Tomorrow night, Game 7 of the '86 World Series. The excitement gets underway at 8 o'clock. Pre-game show followed by Game 7. The World Series is home on NBC, and we got something.
The pictures told it all.
They sure did. Hope you'll join us tomorrow night at Shea Stadium in New York for the final game. For Joe Garagiola, Vin Scully wishing you a very pleasant good evening. Calvin Schiraldi couldn't do it, and it's up to Bob Stanley, and it's up to Mookie Wilson.
So now Bob Stanley comes in, Mookie, and as he's taking his warm-ups, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I wish Calvin had stayed in the ball game. Well, for just like I think Kevin said it earlier, that he was somewhat familiar with us, and he had great success. And we were familiar with him because he was with us a while. Even though he had pretty much done pretty well against us, we still felt comfortable, hitting off him. I wasn't as familiar with Stanley. I'm not familiar, and I've never been one for taking pictures, just looking at a guy. Oh, that just wasn't my game, So I was a little disappointed I didn't get a chance to hit off Calvin, and I thought he probably would stay in because he had been their closer and had done a phenomenal job. So when Stanley was coming in, I was a little concerned because now I just have to back up and just regroup.
There are 2 pitches in this at-bat that are pretty much set in everybody's memory. But what people may not recall is what a long and battling at-bat it was. Foul ball after foul ball. And in fact, as we pick it up now, it's the 8th pitch of the at-bat, Stanley against Wilson.
But the first thing we have to understand is that the magnitude of this ball game. We had 2 or 3 guys just went out there with 2 strikes and put the ball in play. I was not going to let a ball get by.
But Rich Gedman did.
Yes.
And here comes Mitchell to tie it as Knight goes to second. Now, 25 years later, there are still people who say, though it was scored a wild pitch, that Getty could have stopped it. What do you think, Calvin?
I'm glad he asked.
Wow.
I'll ask you next.
Well, the thing about that is looked like Getty set up to the outside and the ball comes inside. And if you're hoping that it's going outside, and he throws it in this far, and it looked like it kind of cut in, which his ball usually didn't cut in, but it looked like it moved that away. That's a tough one. That's a tough one to get a hold of.
Now you can no longer make the last out of the game. Now you're looking to win it, not just survive.
Well, that was the beauty of the whole thing. I was up there. We were down a run. I'm still up there, and now the score is tied. It's only one way I can go, and that's up. I can't lose the ball game, and it really relaxed me a lot. It allowed me, a little more freedom to be a little looser at swinging at some pitches. And I probably, if I'm a little tighter, I probably miss most of those pitches.
All right, Bill Buckner was here along with Mookie Wilson a few months ago as part of our 20 Greatest Games countdown, and they watched as we replayed that fateful moment. Let's take a look.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
That did happen, huh?
It did.
Mookie, would you have beaten him to the bag? If he stops it, obviously Knight has to stop at third, but would you have beaten him to the bag?
I thought my chances were pretty good. I thought that I could beat the pitcher there, so I thought it would be a foot race between me and Billy Buck.
Stanley was a little slow off the mound, so it was a question of whether he could have gotten there in time, and certainly hobbled as he was and as fast as you were, running from the left side of the box. Questionable whether Billy could have beaten you to the bag had he fielded it.
Yeah, I mean, that's another topic that we talked about, and I've looked at that play hundreds of times trying to figure out, because I tried to answer it, definitively, and there's no way you can really tell whether I would beat him to the bag or not.
And the pitch by Stanley, and a ground ball, trickling. It is a fair ball. Gets by Buckner. Rounding third Knight. The Mets will win the ball game. The Mets win. They win. Unbelievable. The Red Sox in stunned disbelief. A slow ground ball went right through the legs of Buckner down the right field line. The Mets have won the ball game. 3 runs in the bottom half of the 10th inning.